to really went and gave the same information from the first episode. It's done this before. I finally caught on to it. Yeah, it's been doing this on D-Live for quite a while now, so I've literally got to go in and change the description around. Because what's put up in a regular Rumble and what's put on or what you put in the stream description and stuff on Rumble Studios are two different things altogether. So it's a little bit annoying. Maybe this okay. Got that straight. Now I can test the audio, I guess. See what's going on there. Testing, testing. Okay, got that straight. Alright, so we have audio on Rumble. Audio is on Twitch. Audio is on Kick. Now I've got to go to YouTube. Make sure that it's streaming on the wonderful world of weirdness. And that the audio's good as well as putting it in its playlist. So after that, I'll go in and see if D-Live is up and running. And we should be good, hopefully. Usually, we are good. That doesn't necessarily mean it is so. I really love hypothesizing. It's one of the things I do usually.
Saying that she drove on Fremont Street, and the word Fremont.
And yeah. Checking the channel. Oh, it looks like it's up and running. It is. Alright, so.
And the word Fremont.
Yeah. And, okay, so everything is up and ready. All I have to do now is go grab a cup of coffee before Mark Watashik decides to call me on Teams. And I will be right back. Hopefully I can do it before he does that, so be right back. I'm going to mute out my mic. All right. I got everything set up and good to go, I believe. Actually, I need to do the playlist thing. Or at least double check, make sure it's no. Past lives. Tonight will be an episode of this episode of Cafe Enigma will be past lives, in search of past lives. So, I believe that was the name I gave it. Not quite sure. Here we go. Cafe Enigma radio show, past lives. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Give me a second. It's taking a second.
Okay.
It's taking a second for the team's call to pop up. Can you hear me?
Don't worry. Everything here is taking a second or two to get going too. Took me a little bit to get the streams connected up tonight. I don't know why, but it sure did.
Yeah.
Did that. Um,
Oh,
I think it's just slow all over, but
the good
it is what it is.
The good
We're
news
gonna work.
is Vicky is here.
Hello.
See? Hi, Vicky.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Vicky.
I'm doing pretty good. Let me get all our stuff together because I still have our intro banner going up right now on OBS.
Now, Vicky,
Let me
this is your moment of triumph. Okay, this is where you get to lash out at us heathens because this is the good stuff.
How's
Well,
that? I mean,
I was only going to say that another school of thought is blah, 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 blah. And then
Yeah,
just
well,
putting it out there. And then you get to go because
no, you go.
my dog doesn't have anything in that fight. I mean, once I say my
dude,
little thing.
you're gonna love this. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna love it.
I'm trying to get Phil in here with us, and I sent Phil the and Sonia. Where'd Nancy go? I know she's up, and David's not here either yet.
Nancy was in chat. She said she's definitely gonna be here. So that's
okay.
That.
Clash of the Titans, right? The Hulk and the.
Man,
when you said
it's not letting Phil in for some reason.
Crossing the streams, I thought of Ghostbusters.
Maybe. Oh well.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I have absolutely no idea. It's doing it. It's doing it to me too. So.
All right. Let me tell Phil to join the link.
It did the same thing with Nancy too.
Yeah, where's Nance? Let me try shooting her the
Sonia.
Sonya here?
Yeah.
the link.
There she is.
Who? Nancy?
No,
Is she in now?
Sonya is.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Sonia.
Sonya.
Hey, Vicky.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Doing good. Making cupcakes with my daughter.
Got some
Trying to.
cupcakes.
Oh,
GMO. Yeah. I'm not a fan. She likes that stuff though, I guess.
do you like sweets?
She likes poisoning herself with GMOs, basically.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, Betty
Boy.
Crocker, you know.
Well, back in the day, I think what they used to have for Betty Crocker is probably healthier than what they have now.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm
Oh, definitely.
absolutely sure of that. But
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
Give Bill another try.
I don't have the link to send it out again. So you know, here's Jason. Let me get Jason in here too, because Jason told me earlier he was coming in.
Yeah.
He was interested in this. Man, it keeps bouncing Phil right out.
There he is. I wonder if maybe.
Hey, MC.
Hey, what's happening?
I wonder if maybe
Hey.
for them to actually freaking come in, they have to be in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Invite them into the room and then.
Yeah, but I did
this is
invite Phil in the room already. So
Yeah, I've seen that.
I did
earlier.
give him the
Yeah, I
link.
saw that as well. Okay.
Come on, Phil. Yeah.
He'll be here. He'll be here.
I just hope tonight's going to be less stressful than today. I've just been doing nothing but politics all day,
I'm so sick of it.
which is politics, and it's just been.
Yuck.
Just yuck. That's the way. That's the way. I'm gonna put the link in the actual chat and see if anybody freaking clicks on it.
Any word from Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot is freaking dude. I'm gonna tell you why he is.
No, okay.
He is going to regret his hatred for Microsoft so much, dude.
But I think you're one there. You've got to register with team just before you can actually join the meeting. You mentioned, oh no, it's Tan that mentioned that you can join teams without having to sign in, but I don't think that's true.
Okay, so Karma might be coming in.
Karma?
Karma Love, buddy.
Karma.
Karma Love.
Not heard from her for a while.
Oh yeah. She there we go. She's in.
Woohoo.
Who?
Karma Love.
Okay.
You have not met freaking anybody out of my crew until you met Karma,
Yeah.
dude. Karma.
I've met Karma.
Oh, you have?
Yep, I was on her show. Remember?
Hey, guys.
Any relation to Karma Chameleon?
No. No.
How does a Muslim close a door?
Oh no.
What?
How does a Muslim close a door?
Don't you hate? Don't you? Yeah, don't you?
No, we're not going to do that right now.
He slams it. Get it? He
I got-
slams it. Ah, ah.
That was
Oh, okay.
horrible.
I got a good one. I got one even worse.
Yeah.
How do German kids tie their shoes?
Hmm.
In little Nazis
Oh,
Oh
that's
Oh
God.
my goodness.
My
That's
worst.
bad,
Oh
right? That's horrible.
Christ.
Terrible.
Oh,
I specialize in really bad jokes. I try to anyway.
long day.
Mark, you got any good dad jokes?
No, I'm not going to do those tonight.
Please do those tonight.
It's like a mystery.
Uh, okay.
you deja vu jokes, right?
Oh, she's okay. Here,
Carnation.
Nancy said she is, or to call again. She was looking for her headset.
Oh, okay then. All right. Let me go ahead and try to give her a call.
Now, Karma said she's willing to come out in too. So
That's
just
a
got
good topic for her, right?
Oh, she believed in the one the last time I talked to her. So I don't know exactly how that is going now, but she
C1.
the one. It's a whole different realm. Well,
Hi, Nance.
Hey, Nancy.
Nice.
Mr. Robot
Sonia.
used to talk about it all the time too.
Hey, Nancy.
Yeah, I think you remind me. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe in the, or
Hi.
I don't believe in it, but I would go with the Pythagorean version of the one. You know what I mean? But these guys, the
Pythagorean.
Pythagorean. Yeah.
It's almost like esophageal, but different.
Oh, say that again, dude. I love it when you say it.
Esophageal.
I love it.
Oh, baby.
Dude, there ain't nothing better than when Vicky says esophageal.
Oh God, he still can't say
Esophageal.
it.
I heard the worst word the other day. Dildonics.
Dildonics. Very nice.
Dildonics. Not just by itself though. It was digital dildonics. This will
Oh,
be
God.
AI, future robot sex or something. The future of digital dildonics. Indeed.
They could
Oh
have
my
gotten more
God.
creative.
Mankind is, humanity is going to end sooner or later. This is the end of humanity.
That's something else. Well, everybody.
Oh, by the way, I'm posting over in the vault. You know, we talked about Michio Kaku the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he just came out with an interview. So it's on Facebook, so I can't rip the video, but I'm gonna post the Facebook link, and he's talking about basically his opinion of the objects, the disclosure by the U.S. government of the TikToks and all that good stuff. So very interesting, I thought. Told you he
Talking
got.
of which,
Is that
talking of which,
TikTok
did you
or
hear the
TikTok?
news today? Trump is demanding TikTok to be a US company.
Well, no, actually, it's really kind of upsetting because the company looking to buy TikTok, which he's demanding that for national security reasons, because China obviously it's so no, it's not even Raytheon. It's actually a Jewish-owned company, and it's causing a lot of problems with the Patriot community because they're like, well, hold on a minute, Sunshine.
Yeah.
Are we gonna censor the crap out of TikTok to where only certain things can be said? So it's interesting. It's getting interesting. We'll put it that way.
Oh yeah, it's definitely that they're starting to come down real hard on TikTok. From what I've been hearing, they tried to ban it from Romania because of the far right.
Yes.
And that was weird when I heard that. I was like, seriously, everybody else is talking about other stuff when it comes to TikTok, and they're doing it to censor the far right from.
You know what I find interesting? Do you know who was banned from Romania? This is very interesting, and this is kind of a corkscrew in the whole story, but Erica Kirk was banned from Romania. in like
Yeah.
2010, 2011. And it had to do with an organization she was backing that was trafficking children. So I thought that
I
was
just
really interesting.
wanted to go back to TikTok real quick. Hold on, I'm having a brain fart now. That a lot of people found out about the horrors in Palestine through TikTok. I mean, they just weren't censoring as much as all the other platforms were. So that was a big reason they wanted to kind of shut them down and buy them to shut them down.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. And I find it interesting because I think it's going to backfire. I really do, because again, TikTok is it's probably the last bastion of uncensored speech. Although I have to say it can go either way. And I've always noted that uncensored speech can be a great thing, but we do have a lot of kids that are making really, really pissy bad decisions based off things they're
There's
seeing.
there's something a lot less known than TikTok, but it's called 153news.net.
Yep.
It's ran by you're familiar, right? That's
Yep.
that's what they actually call it. That's its logo, the last basket of freedom, by Jason Boss. Started this thing about 8 years ago or so, and I think that they are just excellent. I mean, some of the things I would see so censored, I found on there. That's where I got my MP4 of the Christ Church, what was on the camera that was on the guy's head, the GoPro video. It's about 16 and a half minutes long. But the point is, at least it's up there, it's pretty good
It's
archive.
really hard. I was going to say it's really hard because, I mean, especially now because the archives are getting raided, and there's no two
Yeah,
ways
they've been
about it.
raided.
They're deleting.
many
I mean, they're
times?
quite a bit, and it's
Yeah, they're
funny
rated
because,
like once, twice a day.
well, it's one of the reasons why I do love the way the Anons work, because Anons don't just download files; they cold storage them, because they know that 90% of the time what they're looking for is going to disappear. So they take them out and it's kind of like Frazzle Drip. Everybody was saying, oh, Frazzle Drip, that was just a bullshit. This, it never really existed. Yeah, it did. The problem is that you couldn't admit to downloading it and ripping it and cold storing it because it was so ridiculously illegal to even have viewed it. You've committed a crime. Even if you innocently stumbled into it, you have committed a crime by viewing it. So
Within the US.
well, it's incredibly violent, disgusting.
In
It
New
involves
Zealand,
children.
you get 20 years if you give somebody a copy of it, and you get 5 years just for like showing it to them, like pointing your phone, like, oh, I got a copy of that. Would you like to see it? 5 years maximum for that, 20 years maximum for giving somebody a digital copy.
I don't understand it though, because these are the same countries that have allowed themselves an influx of a culture that believes in having sex with young girls as soon as they menstruate. So it's like, how does that work? Because I mean, that's their culture, and I'm not going to judge them on that. That is how they have lived for thousands of years, and it's their culture. It's, however, not our culture, and we take it really offensively if you try to have sex with an 11 or 12
there he is.
child.
We got first, last.
It's one of the reasons I have problems with the uncontrolled immigration.
Well, yeah, I
Because
was going to say, I've been watching Keir Starmer's speeches all evening, and don't talk about culture, because culture, there will not be a country national culture, it will be global culture, according to these freaks.
Well, that's kind of what I was, when you and I were talking in the chat earlier. That's my biggest concern for your country. I mean, I feel horrible for the English people right now, because they didn't see it coming. They saw it, but they thought, no, this could never continue. We'll vote them out. And what they're not realizing is that all their voting is rigged. No matter what you do, you're going to end up with the same shit, different day scenario.
Not necessarily. Remember, we've got new emerging parties such as
That's true.
Reform and stuff.
That's true, but I mean, I know they tried that here too. And what happened was you basically the politicians would just take on a different mask and say, oh, well, we're anti this and get elected. And it turns out they're exactly the same as everybody else.
Much,
And
or they will just say the politicians, like in Germany, will say they are far right, therefore they cannot be electable, such as AfD in Germany.
I don't understand how.
Okay, so
I mean, I know we did it too, but I just don't get it, dude.
let's do a quick sound check. First, last, you want to see if your audio is working good? He's there, but I don't.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Now I'm still
Oh, I love
Mute.
I'm still trying to get Karma in. She's having difficulties with it, but we got first last in, and I wanted to kind of go over a little bit for you so that you know how things are. When we start out, I'll do an introduction. I'll give it an introduction on what the episode's going to be about, introduce everybody on the panel, and after that we go into a 22-minute video that Mark Watashik, our producer, is going to do for the radio show. Now, while he's doing that, we're not going to be able to hear it. It's just for the radio, and we'll be doing what I call brainstorming, and that'll be going over what's actually in the video of In Search Of, as well as going further with a lot of the stuff. So that'll be that for the 22 minutes, and then when the radio show comes back on, that's when we'll actually get into the topic, and we'll go over some of the stuff that we've been brainstorming over, and that'll be all the way up until the first break at 55 minutes. Right, Mark?
Right on.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
I did get a chance to
And then the break after that, it's at the 25-minute mark.
Yeah,
So we take it out at the 5 till.
Earlier, I did get a chance to actually watch that video.
What'd you think of it?
Like I said, a bit
too hardcore.
Pseudo-science.
You just got upset because they were talking about your king, like they were, like that.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, one of them.
One of them. Yeah.
He's just an English dude. He's like, I don't like that. I don't like them.
Welcome everybody in the chats. Appreciate y'all coming in. We're gonna get the show started up here pretty soon.
We know how it is.
It's just a pre-show where we get together and kind of iron things out before we get going. Appreciate each and every one of you that's joined us tonight. Mayan Cow, Adam Bombs, Great Conspiracy, Hazard, FTW, in the Kick Chat. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I gotta still figure out your language on that, because you say a bunch of weird stuff in that chat that I do not understand.
Like what chat?
In Kick.
Oh.
It is so
like
weird.
What?
You say you and me spells awesome or something like that.
No, you are awesome. And that means you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna
because you're not reading it. You probably look at it too quick and then or it flashes too fast.
Well, it's because you keep making me push that IP thing, and I really don't like it.
You don't have to push that.
Because it seems like I'm telling everybody that I'm peeing, and it just.
No, that's not.
IP.
P is your personals. When you take and do that, like exclamation point P.
Oh, that's an exclamation point. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thought it was an I. me getting old, my eyesight getting bad and stuff. So
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's an exclamation point, and if you do the Q, it means hey, come check and see what we're doing, and if you have questions for the moderator or the um, panel, put them in chat, and then I'll get them to you guys.
awesome.
Let me get the radio side up and running.
And also another thing, at first, even though we're not on the radio, we still will be streaming on all the platforms. So,
Yeah.
after it's edited out, I will have behind the scenes, which has the parts that aren't on the radio show.
So what?
The parts that we have that are in between, like this right here, and then the commercial breaks. I have that.
Oh, you just go to the Raw. People just can go to the Raw and listen to that there.
I've got it. I've got behind the scenes, baby. I got it all set.
Oh, you're just gonna. Oh, why don't you, when you're in the Kick chat, click and do those? What do they call? Clips. Yeah, clips.
I can do that.
Yeah, and then you can save some of that, because you can save up to like a minute, maybe 2 on a clip.
Yeah, but
It's
bad enough that you making me read and stuff.
You don't have to. Oh my God!
And then tell time.
Roger.
And then tell time.
Roger.
Make it short.
Roger.
Huh?
We're gonna get ready to hang up here in a minute. All right. So I'm like, reel it in, buddy. Nancy, I did try to reach out to Phil. I did put the link in there. He did want to come in. I don't know. I don't see him. Can you shoot him a line and say,
I can.
if you want to come in, if you want to come in tonight with us, this would probably be a good one for him to come into, if he's not decayed. But anyways,
Um,
yeah.
That's hilarious.
But yeah,
I
we'll
think
just say it like
Ralphie's gonna
that. All
try to
right. All right.
Yep. I was gonna say I think Ralphie's gonna try to jump in also at some point. I just not sure when.
Yeah, I don't know what's going. I'll try to bring you guys in again when I hang up, and then I have to bring everybody back again when I hang up. So
Oh,
Okay.
if I do that, if I hang up now, that'll give us you'll have up to the 55-minute mark, and then we'll have maybe a minute or two to transition into the next one. So that'll be good. All right. So I'm hanging up right now. You guys watch for the next call.
Okay. And we'll meet again on the next call. And just so everybody know, the brainstorming gets wild. So be ready for that. It's gonna be good tonight. It's gonna be rowdy. All right. So we are set up and ready to go. That was the pre-show. In 2 minutes, the show will be starting, and I will get
5,
all right.
6.
Let me get the window capture set up and go
Okay.
into
Karma, Sonia, Phil, Vicky, Jason, Jahan. Try Phil again. Nope. Boom. Right out.
okay.
And Karma is right out the door too. Every time I tried to bring her in.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, yeah.
Now, First told me that he found out that whenever he was doing his, he had a problem, or he had to go ahead and just click on video or audio instead of doing the meet me thing.
Well, either way, we got a couple seconds before we get everything else going. I need to reposition Teams and OBS so that
Mm-hmm.
so that there we go.
There it is.
Who?
First.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna still try to get Phil in. It'd be cool to get him in if he can show up.
Yeah, I think Phil would be great for this show, and if we can get him in.
Oh, this is gonna be insane because like we've got Nancy here and we got Vicky here, and you want to talk about crazy stuff, and then First is here, and he just freaking he called me out when I made the post, so he was telling me like,
all right, you got 30 seconds,
So-
and then I'm gonna
this is gonna be excellent, is all I'm saying.
get you on the radio side, and
And then I don't even know what Jason's gonna do. MC dirty work. He's just a dirty dog. He's a dirty dog.
look out, cats, dogs, kids, curtain climbers, and crumb beggars. Here is your countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live and on the radio side for the first time tonight. Roger, right now.
Welcome to Cafe Enigma, where mysteries linger at the edge of science and imagination. Tonight we explore reincarnation and regressive therapy. The idea that consciousness survives death and returns again. From ancient traditions to modern hypnotic sessions, these stories suggest our memories may stretch beyond the span of a single lifetime. But as we dive deeper, we'll also explore how these patterns connect to the brain's hidden architecture, where mossy fibers bring order and rhythm, and climbing fibers guide transformation and ascent. Could reincarnation be more than myth? Could it be a reflection of universal laws that shape consciousness and even the cosmos itself? I'm Roger Hanson. Tonight I'll be your host, and joining us tonight is my co-host, Sonia Galactic, spelled T-E-C at the end instead of T-I-C. And with her is our esteemed panel. Since he is the first one, or the new one to the group, I'd like to introduce First last. If you want to give your real name, you can first. It's up to you.
Well, tonight we'll just stay with first, last. It'll be fine.
Okay.
And yeah, I appreciate being here. I have had some experience in personal revelations, but I wouldn't mind sharing that to you. It's a 3-part thing, but we can get there.
Okay. So after that, we have Jason Quigley, aka MC Dirty Work. And we also have Arpad Bass, aka Vicky Bass.
Hello.
Then we also have Nancy Planeta and Mark Edworthy. And besides them, there's our producer, Mark Watashik. And I always say his name because I enjoy saying his last name. I love it now. So, with that being said, we are going to we're going to get on with the questions tonight. We'll be exploring these key questions, and one is: Are past life memories real or constructed? 2, how might the brain serve as a conduit for such experiences? And 3, what does these cycles suggest about the larger architecture of growth, ascent, and consciousness? So with that being said, let's listen to this clip from In Search of Past Life, Season 4, Episode 24, hosted by Leonard Nimoy. Before we go on to the discussion.
I already started the clip when you said that. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Now this is where we get into the brainstorming, because as you guys can tell, you don't hear the brainstorming. Now, to occupy the 22 minutes and to give you guys an idea of what the video is about and what the topic's going to be about, we'll be brainstorming. That's where we'll come up. I'll throw some stuff out to you guys, and if you feel like talking about it, we'll talk about it. Now, tonight, tonight we can do that and get it going and see how you guys want to talk about with it. So we do have quite a few people here, so whenever we do this, all I ask is that you be respectful to one another. Don't crosstalk, which means allow the person to finish their conversation before you start, stuff like that. Just be courteous to yourself, and remember that the people who are watching and listening, it's hard for them to understand what's being said whenever people are cross-talking. So just keep that in mind, you know what I mean? So the first thing I want to talk about is cultural universality of reincarnation. Okay, why the idea persists across time and place. Reincarnation is one of those rare ideas that refuse to stay confined to one culture or era or belief system. It arises independently across civilizations, from ancient India to Greece, and from tribal shamans to modern New Age circles. Now that persistence suggests it isn't just religious teachings. It's a human intuition about the nature of existence. Human beings struggle with the finality of death, is the way I usually see it. The idea of reincarnation answers like a deep-seated need. That identity and consciousness don't just vanish, but continues in another form. So, with that, I want to start it off with that. See what you guys think about that when it comes to the history of reincarnation and how it just persists on and on all throughout history. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I believe the earliest culture that we know of that spoke of reincarnation were the Indians, and it was the Vedic texts. It goes back thousands of years. I've always kind of thought that given the location of India when it came to the Silk Road, trade, it was actually pivotal in a lot of those things. So a lot of cultures would have traversed those areas, whether it was through trade, whether it was through travel. It was a well-traveled zone. So I can see where that would actually lead on. But in the same respect, I am a believer that like the inscribers of the Vedic texts, I believe ancient cultures were a lot more intelligent than we will ever give them credit for. I think they were incredibly advanced in a lot of ways, not just technically, but when it came to anatomy and physiology. I think they knew a lot more than we've ever been allowed to, I guess you could say, explore. And I say that because we found evidence. We found evidence in Egypt. Obviously, they knew how to take a body and basically make it last thousands of years. Those techniques, that's not something a caveman does. Machu Picchu, we showed evidence of brain surgery being performed. So they had a vast knowledge that I'm going to take that wild jump and say it was purposefully destroyed, probably by the church, because again, you can't control something that's more intelligent than you are. And that was always the mantra of the church, basically keep the serfs, and keep the royalty, and don't spread the knowledge. It's why we had the Vatican vaults. And I always say that the Vatican vaults contain probably more knowledge than we could ever probably hope to even encompass. And a lot of that type of knowledge is in those vaults, ancient knowledge, because literally that's what the Jesuits did. They went out around the world and they gathered as much as they possibly could, and what they didn't want to burn, they locked up. So, yeah, I know it started, like I said, I know reincarnation, the actual thought process of it started with the Vedic texts. And I also wonder too, because the Indian culture and actually that whole Far Eastern culture, they were very much into transcending consciousness, meditation, things like that. Those were their forms of connecting, not just to nature and their surroundings, but to their gods. So you can kind of, I guess you could say, they may have had a sense of the fact that your consciousness is separate from your body. And I know a lot of people scoff when I say that, but there is some science to it. We do have an electric current that runs through our body physically. And by definition, energy can either be created or destroyed. It can only conduct or change. End of sentence. So when we die, the energy that basically powers our body, our heart, our blood, it has to go somewhere. It can go to the ground, it can go to the air, but it has to go somewhere. This is but a shell. It's funny because I think all religions kind of got that right. It's your temple, it's your this, it's your that, whatever. It's temporary. And I truly believe that your consciousness is probably embedded in that energy. But that being said, you also have, as we know now, epigenetics, which is cellular memory. And I've always wondered too, did they get it confused when, somebody's born generations later and has the memories of somebody from generations earlier? Did they confuse that for maybe the second coming of that person or a reincarnation when it was truly just a very strong showing of cellular memory? And, we should have, again, before they even came up with epigenetics, we should have known there was something to that when we were doing transplants and people were getting cravings and having memories of the donor. So, right there, they should have known there was something cellular going on. And as we found out later, of course, it's that the cell is imprinted with memory. So when somebody would get a donor organ, that sometimes it was olfactory, they would smell something or smell of something that would give them a memory that wasn't theirs. It was from the donor. But that's a science. It's not, as I like to say, the mystical, the oogie boogie. There's actually a science to that. So I'm on the fence because I'm like, it could be scientific. It could be straight up cellular memory that just keeps coming back over and over again. But I also am of the mind that, again, energy can neither be created nor destroyed if it's intelligent energy. And I'm thinking they have figured that out because, again, we're talking about current technology companies talking about giving blueprints for soul machines, ways to transcend your intelligence into a computer. That would allude to the fact that your intelligence is connected to an energy source of some kind to be imprinted. In other words, it could be conducted. So, yeah, I'm going to let somebody else talk because I've talked for too long.
Nancy, just on the point, the so-called soul machines, I always thought of them, of the concept as a sort of photocopier, a duplicate rather than
it depends on
transcendent.
Yeah, it depends on which blueprints you're looking at. Because I got to tell you, man, if you go into the patents, there's like a million different patents for different types of soul machines. Some of them, they're just wacko. You're reading it going, yeah, no, what, who wrote that? But some of them have some real intellectual thought and science behind them. And it's actually kind of scary because if they're capable of uploading, mimicking, mirroring what you are at your very core, if they're capable of doing that and loading it into a computer, they can trap you forever. I mean, it's funny because I always say religions have been built for thousands of years on fear. Religions and governments have been built on fear. And the Roman Empire, I always say this, when the Roman Empire figured out that the mortal life of a human or a slave no longer meant enough to them to scare them into obedience, they decided to make the immortal life the thing to be afraid to lose. So thus Christianity was an easy segue for the Roman Empire. And if you actually look up the history, the Senate of Rome didn't go anywhere. They literally amalgamated into the Vatican. The royal bloodlines of the Senate are literally running through the Vatican, which it's kind of crazy, but I thought, what a genius move on the Roman Empire's part. They lost the empire per se, and they created a larger one through religion. And they kept people in line with fear of basically a damned eternity. That is a greater fear to humans than a damned life, because there's no coming back from a damned eternity. So again, yeah.
The thing with this too is it's like human beings, like I said, struggle with the finality of death too. You know what I mean? The idea of reincarnation, it answers a lot of deep-seated need. That identity and consciousness don't just vanish. Okay, they continue in another form. Now, cultures may frame it different, but the core intuition, and I mean intuition when I say that, that's the same. The self is not annihilated; it's just transformed according to them. And if you go in and you look at Carl Jung's concept of archetypes, it helps explain why reincarnation reoccurs in cultural myth, you know, because what he always talks about is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and how it mirrors natural cycles like the seasons, day and night, decay, and regrowth. So that right there is something that really is something that really sticks out, because humanity projects these types of rhythms into the soul, and that's through the archetypes of like eternal return and life renewing itself, and it's fundamental, and it's also natural. It naturally arises wherever humans are seeking meaning. You know what I mean? For Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, they have detailed doctrines of karma and rebirth, and that's to define entire cosmologies. Then you have ancient Greek, and
Doesn't near-death experience though. This is the problem.
well, see, you have philosophers like Pythagoras and Plato who spoke of transmigration of souls.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then you have, like you were talking about, the indigenous traditions, okay? And from the Inuit all the way to the Hopi, many tribes used to tell stories of spirits returning through children.
Yes.
And then after, you know, what about Gnosticism, Kabbalah, and spiritualism? I mean,
that's what I'm saying though. It's more to that though, Roger. Even in like so currently in current times, how many hundreds, I mean actually how many thousands of experiences have you read of NDE, near death experience, where the body dies and the body is dead for X amount of time, and yet the person has clear memory of people 5 rooms away from them because their spirit, according to them, went there. They listened to entire conversations, were able to reiterate the entire conversations. They were able to reiterate conversations between physicians. I mean, that's the type of thing where I'm like, I have to hit pause and say, there's no explaining that. There's no rational way you can sit here and tell me, well, maybe there was a hidden microphone behind the dead person's ear and they heard this conversation.
I'm going to let everybody know, okay, that we're going to have to restart teams again, and in less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. Because someone didn't hang up. All right. So I'm going to, and since we're still on break technically, because the file is still playing on the radio side and we're not being heard on the radio side, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then we're going to have to, then when we go to break at the top of the hour, I'll do it again just to get us back on track. All right. So make sure everybody hangs up. All right. And then we'll pick up and talk about it more. And hopefully we'll be closer to the end of the clip, because we have about a little over 7 minutes or over 6 minutes. All right. I'm going to do that right now.
Just say.
So everybody hang up and wait for me to call
Nancy,
back.
Just say too, that was a great conversation. I like that. So I'm gonna hang up now,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to
I
add
definitely hung up.
that. Yeah. Okay, so we are waiting for the callback, and that was actually a pretty good opener for our brainstorming. So after that, I'm going to start talking about traditions of reincarnation that provide moral structure. That would be tied to karma.
There you are, Roger.
Yeah, there we go. We got it.
Nancy.
Hey.
There we
Jason.
Hello?
all those
And
hooligans.
Vicky.
All those
Yeah,
hooligans.
maybe there's a chance I can get David Campione back in with us, but he told me in Facebook he was trying to get in, but it's not letting him in. I'm like, I don't know.
I know Rafa's there too, trying to get in.
Yeah,
He was trying to figure out what room.
Well, see, I don't even I don't even have Raf on here.
Yeah.
So, well, there he is. It's still trying to call Raf. That's why. Maybe because when Raf came in, that put us at 10. Or I don't know. We can have only 10 people in the call at one time with this.
Okay, so with the first part I was on, I wanted to finish it up with the karma. Okay, now when it comes to karma and what we were talking about before, for many traditions, reincarnation provides like a moral structure, and karma ties to action, to consequences beyond one lifetime. You know. Making the universe seem fairer, it seems like. And this idea persists because it gives...
No, he wants you in, karma.
It gives meaning to suffering, you know what I mean?
She's leaving out because she...
Instead of random misfortune.
You better type to her, Roger. She's leaving out. I have it up. Look for Cafe Enigma on YouTube under Dragus Productions.
No.
So...
that was the one thing that I did want to bring up too, is about karma, especially when it comes to that, when it comes to this this idea that it gives meaning to suffering, instead of like a random misfortune, that life's a part of like a larger story that stretches across incarnations and stuff of that nature.
Should I say my part now?
Yeah.
Do you want me to say it?
Oh boy.
I'll be the only one. It's going to be short and sweet.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, once we take and get going, I'll tell you where it all led to. Basically, some connections with it from the original show that I did on it. So yeah. I think Nancy, you were on that show, and you'll probably remember when I start talking about it.
Yep, I do actually remember the show.
Has something to do with DNA.
Yep, actually, I was posted about DNA.
Yep.
They had. I'm just going to say my little spiel and then
say it.
Go.
Say it.
we use the term born again
Mm-hmm.
and rebirth. That is not for the evangelical, for the Protestants, for the Christians. That is not the cycle which you all are talking about reincarnation, the soul going into another body and then going into another body, those cycles. It's a spiritual rebirth. And then Jesus was saying that it's given for a man to die, and after that, the judgment. So he lives on earth, and when he dies, he goes immediately to the chosen place where he wants to go, as far as
Yeah, and you're
his
reborn there.
spirit.
So that's reincarnation too, though.
Well, it's heaven or hell. That's that
Yeah,
you
you're
go there
reincarnated in one of
immediately.
those places.
But
Yeah.
and if
I agree.
it's not, and that would be a different way of saying that word. But
I was thinking
don't
Dante.
get her riled.
Yeah,
I want to
No,
get
I'm
stirred
just
up
saying,
because once we come back, I want you wanted to turn her loose. I'm trying to rile her
Yeah,
up for
there
you,
you go.
Roger.
Go for it. Go for it. Get her.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Some of the things that we're talking about as far as the philosophy is concerned, the American Indian believes that we are dead and in hell. And the only way that we have is to go up. In other philosophies, let's say the only thing that they were able to find of him, well, they found all of him with the exception of his phalanx, which we now have monuments to. We also have the philosophy that the energy can't die. We have the scientific support of seeing an orb leaving these people directly after death. We do have actual evidence. The issue is whether or not this is now actual reality of what happens to us, or here's the other thing. We're talking about putting our essence into a mechanical being.
Okay,
Now,
we got
if we
30
sit there-
seconds before we come back on radio air.
Okay, so hold on a
If I
minute.
make a mathematical model of a rock, is it also a rock? I yield.
Okay, we got 30 seconds, so hold on. We're going to do a countdown, and we will get back to that. It sounds like you guys are fired up and ready to go. Poor MC Dirty Work couldn't say a word edgewise in.
Oh, he will when I start bringing some stuff up, and then Nancy's gonna join in too. 3, 2, 1, and you're live right now.
Okay. Across cultures and centuries, reincarnation has persisted as one of humanity's most enduring beliefs. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the soul cycles through many lives, guided by karma, the law of cause and effect. In the ancient Mediterranean, philosophers like Pythagoras and Plato argued that knowledge itself was memory from past lives. Even in the West, stories of children recalling names, places, and events they could never have known continued to challenge skepticism. Regressive therapy seeks to unlock these hidden memories, often through hypnosis. Patients describe vivid scenes, identities, and sometimes even languages they have never studied. Some report physical symptoms tied to past traumas, aches, or scars that only make sense when linked to another life. Are these simply creations of the imagination, or could they be glimpses from something deeper, signals imprinted on the mind itself? Consider this. If the brain is a pattern weaving system, what if these regressions are signals, fragments of rhythm and memory woven into the very fibers of consciousness? Could we be turning into something larger than ourselves? And with that, I'm going to open it up to the panel. But first, I'm going to see if my co-host is still here. Is she? No, she is not. With
No,
that, with that,
she
be-
isn't.
with that being said, with that being said, I am going to go ahead and open it up to the panel. Who would like to go first? I will hold up here. Let's get first to come start this out. He said he had some stuff. Go ahead and respond to that if you want to. First, you gotta unmute. Man, oh man.
I guess everybody's on mute tonight, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up. Go ahead, Nancy.
No, I was going to say it's interesting the way you worded coming into this. I mean, you've got so many different cultures that look at it so many different ways. I mean, one of the most common things you hear is that everybody is reborn into the 12 signs of the zodiac. That basically Aries is the first sign, Pisces is the last sign. So by the time you hit Pisces, which I happen to be, you have lived 11 other lives, and you lived them basically repeating mistakes. So by the time you get to Pisces, you're supposed to have learned as much as you possibly could, because it's like your last step. It's that's at least one of the theories. I
Is that
don't
what makes us old
I got
souls?
well, I think they say that too. Pisceans
Yeah.
are old souls, and
Mhm.
but they're also, if you notice, our sign is like one of the primary signs when it comes to suicidal thoughts. It's Pisces. It can be very erratic, depending on how they think and how they handle things. But because they're a highly emotional sign. But I can tell you that, I mean, just even with all the different cultures and how you view it, there are too many things that cannot be explained for us to rule out reincarnation. You've got children who have memories, I mean, accurate memories of World War II. I mean, like 3 and 4-year-olds who can give you flight patterns for the RAF because they believe they're a reincarnated pilot. They have no idea what that means, but they'll come out with these entire storylines of what life they lived. You have people who have mind-bending fears of things that they cannot explain, and they have a memory of a death. Of like fire is one of the bigger ones, where if somebody died in a fire, it's really strange because I've met 3 people that believe that they've been reincarnated and that they died in fire because they dream of it all the time. So again, I told you guys I'm on the fence when it comes to reincarnation, because there is a thing called cellular memory, and cellular memory isn't just body function. Cellular memory is actually memory of events. And they've proven that you can actually inherit the memories of your ancestors. And I'm going to also
see the
add
two
that
points, but they're contradictory. In one point, we don't have a genetic. I know about the World War II reference that you were giving, and that's actually part of the story I'd like to share too. But that has no family relationship. So
that's what I'm
there's something
saying.
that is happening at multiple levels here. We're not just talking about a single level. We're talking about,
What I was
okay,
going to
go ahead.
say on the end of that, though, was that we have discovered in the past decade, and again, when we're saying cellular memory, and it's not genetic, but when women when women sleep with more than one man, that man, every time there's copulation, he's leaving cells in her body, which can be, when she gets pregnant, passed on to the child. So in other words, that child, even though it's genetically of its father, it can have cellular memory of anybody else that the mother has had intercourse with. And that's science.
So she
It's
has to make
crazy.
antibodies to him. Each
Yep.
person
right
she
there,
makes
Horace.
antibodies to.
So
Something
you're
I think
talking-
is interesting. Go
ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say something I think is interesting. That sac of fluid that we're born into, it's called amniotic fluid. amnesia, amniotic fluid. So it etymology wise, it almost gives the idea that wherever we're coming from, which I think is just as interesting of a question as what happens when we die, where we're going to, where were we before we were here. Etymology wise, amniotic fluid seems like somebody doesn't want us to know what was going on before, or if anything was going on before.
Well, and not only that, but you also have that spark that is life.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of always go back to that too, because that shows an energy. When an egg and a sperm meet, if it's something that creates a fetus, there's literally a physical spark, a bright light that occurs, and life begins.
Wasn't there an old
I've always
film that they actually got that on?
Yep.
They actually took a camera and, this is in like the 70s. I'm talking like maybe 77, 78, or maybe the very early 80s. But yeah. And they tracked the whole light or whatever and actually got that spark. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I remembered that.
No, that's true. It's brilliant photography they took that from.
Yes.
Yep.
And
it's interesting because, go ahead, Vic, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just was saying that, according to the other school of thought, the Christians, the evangelicals, God is the one that creates that life within the mother. And so he creates that life. If you see it as a, spark, that's fine. And then, as I said before, as far as humans are concerned, it's given to men once to die and then the judgment. So they go based on whether they've accepted salvation or not, to heaven or hell, and that it's immediate, and there is no running around, or like the Nephilim, those that were wiped out from the flood, and their souls are running around, and those are what we call demons. And the reason I bring that up is because some schools of thought thinks that when you're doing hypnotic or and you are putting someone, you're basically hijacking their minds, that is a way that any demons around can come in, and that's what you're hearing from. I'm just saying the school of thought, that's what you're hearing from. You're not it's not from that person. Now, only if you are a born again, we use that term, believer, your soul is sealed. You get the gift of the Holy Spirit. Now, you can be, if you're not, possessed by demons. You've heard of that, right? Possession.
Of course.
It's not just the law.
And right. So my question, and I do not know this, the answer, but if people somehow, if they can be possessed by a running around, whatever demon is condemned to be on earth until the end, then, how that may not be different as to how they're getting it, put into a machine.
Well, here's the thing, Vic. I can integrate science into your beliefs, much as you don't want to hear this, but it does work. I mean, the Christian beliefs, and I'm not Christian and definitely not a born again. The beliefs believe in the Holy Spirit. They believe in the demonic entity. They believe in all of these things that are not physical. Okay, they're not corporeal. So what would they be? If I'm going to break it down, I'm going to say it's a form of energy.
Right.
Correct.
So
again, we're in that same train of thought now. So if a Holy Spirit can come into your soul, into your body, why can a soul not, if it's energy, why can it not reincarnate? I mean, and we're talking reincarnation occurs when the child, okay, so you have the gup, I mean, you know, I'm pretty well religiously schooled, and the gup, of course, is the innocent souls. Those are the well of souls of infant children that have never lived before. They're pure, they're innocent, they're housed in the, and supposedly when a woman conceives, a soul comes from the gup to inhabit the child that she has conceived. Now, that child still has to be baptized by any Christian faith, but the fact is that is the thing. But it's still a form of energy. That spark of conception is a form of energy.
Yes.
It's something entering that fetus. Again, if I'm going to follow that science and not follow the religion, I'm going to say, if it's spark to life, it's spark at death. And we can prove that the human body actually weighs less. When it dies, it actually loses, I think it's something like 1.2 grams.
Yes.
They cannot explain that loss. They cannot. It's
I have
not
heard that.
defecation. Yep. It's not, there's no explaining the loss. It's not bodily fluid. It's not defecation. They don't know what that loss is.
Okay,
So
says it's hydrogen.
Well, we do. It's just that we won't admit to knowing it, right?
this is what I'm saying. And this is not an easy conversation to have because everybody has different beliefs and nobody wants to offend anybody else, but you have to be logical about it in some ways. And you have to, of course, adhere to your beliefs. I'm not here to tell anybody to not believe what they've always
something I've learned, and it's been a really hard knock learning it. No matter what I believe is not going to change the truth. So when I get there, I guess I'll find out.
And that's the answer to everybody. It's so funny because I've done ghost hunting for decades, and when Vicky talks about nope, you either go to heaven or hell. One of the things I always said on investigations, because trust me, I have run into things, and I think you guys know me pretty well. I don't shake easily. Not a lot of things scare me, and they'll startle me, but I want answers. And 99% of the time.
Go ahead and friend me in the chat and everything, and get a hold of me tomorrow. I do have some information for you, but it seems like a good place for the story I had for you. Would you like me to explain it?
Sure.
When I was 3 or 4 years old, I had a very frustrating argument with my mother, and it had to do with memories and things of that nature. But it's really strange because I'm displaced from the memory. I remember being 3 years old. I remember the frustration, but the actual details of that frustration, I remember when I was 8 years old, describing what happened to me when I was 3 years old. But get this, I was 3 years old talking about something that happened 5 years prior.
Yeah. And that's not uncommon.
Well, here's what the take is on it, though. And what I do remember that is vivid. I remember a white room. I remember I could not leave it. I remember that there was a door and a perception of a window, conversation point that I could interact with somebody. I don't remember speaking. I remember being impressions. And I remember that I wanted to do this life. And they're saying, no, this other life would be so much better for you. And it's like, no, look at what this life accomplishes. And I had to have an argument, and I made a petition to something, and they allowed me to live the life that I was living. Prior to that, which I wouldn't really realize until I was around 22, 23 years old, I was attending Oshkosh, and one of the few PT-38s, which is the twin fork devil that they talk about. It's normally a one pilot. However, they had taken all the radio gear out behind the pilot seat and put in a jump seat. And I was privileged in order to ride along around the pattern a couple of times in that. But that airplane is extremely unique. It has counter rotating propellers. On one side, it rotates clockwise. The other side, it rotates counterclockwise. And it places such an unusual gyroscope on the airplane that I instantly knew the moment that the wheels left. I knew every inch of that airplane. I had memory of it. I knew where the throttle was. I knew where the sticks were. I knew where the ignition switch was. I knew the unusual wiggle in the tail caused by the rotations of the prop. And I had determined at that time that it was a flashback of a memory during World War II. I was reborn in 1962, and it was the time between the time that I had died, which I believe was in combat, to the time of 1962 that I was reborn, but I was remembering the time in between, that I was held someplace, that I had a choice, and I had made a choice in order to participate. I yield.
It's so interesting that you're saying that, because when I said that's not uncommon. Children are, they're little windows into the universe in many, many ways, because they haven't been jaded. When they're little, their view of the world is so innocent. There's no impressed perceptions that we put on them. Not yet. And you can tell when they start getting of school age is when they start losing that innocence, and they see things. I always say, listen to them, because they're telling you things. And a lot of times, like I said, when you talk about past life regression or a past life experience, it's children that are relaying it because they haven't forgotten yet. Or they did, and I don't know why some people don't forget and some people do. I know I've said to people, if I ever lived a past life, I was probably a teacher, because I get this, every time I think about it, I get this vision of a Victorian era educator. And I don't know why. And I'm like, that's so weird. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I lived a past life, that was something I was. That, or genetically it got handed down to me. One of the two.
Before you guys continue that, I do want to get into the regression therapy. That is something that's very important now. Regression therapy, how hypnosis is used, and whether it opens doors to memory or imagination. Okay, now regression therapy is usually carried out under hypnosis. The client is guided into like a deeply relaxed trance-like state where critical awareness softens, the unconscious is allowed to surface. Now, the therapist then suggests going back, sometimes to early childhood, other times to supposed past lives. What emerges are vivid scenes, emotions, and narratives that feel real to the person experiencing them. Now, this is how hypnosis, according to what I've found out, works. It's the relaxation plus the suggestibility. Okay, that's where hypnosis lowers the filtering mechanisms of the conscious mind. And that's usually the prefrontal gatekeeper, okay, and it increases suggestibility. That means memories, associations, and creative imagery can flow more freely. So access to store materials is what that comes to. In this altered state, people may be able to retrieve like forgotten details of their childhood, or even pre-verbal memories, But hypnosis is not a perfect memory retrieval tool. It's more like turning up the volume on whatever is lingering in the subconscious. So after that, you come to the narrative construction. The brain loves patterns and coherence. If there are gaps in memory, the mind often fills them with imagination, sometimes unconsciously. Now, under hypnosis, this can feel absolutely authentic. And this is what Vicky is kind of getting to in her religious thing, but I'm talking about it in like the actual scientific part. It may seem absolutely authentic. Some argue that hypnosis bypasses conscious censorship, allowing repressed or deeply buried memories to surface, though. And a good example of that is like trauma survivors sometimes recall earlier experiences under regression that align with like later verified events. Advocates of past life regression claim that some mechanisms apply, like memory exists beyond the present lifetime, and hypnosis unlocks it. So those are the kind of things that happens with regressive therapy. And
what about alien when they have been abducted by alien and they use that, right, to go back and see what happened?
Yes, a lot of people do use it.
Yeah, it is one of the therapies they use on what they call abductees, to try to get to the core of the trauma that they experienced.
Right.
But the problem I have with hypnotic therapy is that you are at the mercy of the administrator. And we've seen it used in very bad ways. Back in the mid to late 90s, we had all those poor people working the child daycare centers where, if you even stepped sideways, they were taking the kids into hypnotherapy and getting all these horrible, horrible abuses that were occurring, and it all turned out to be crap. And it was therapists that were implanting thoughts. So, we've learned it could be a weapon, but on the other side of that, we only use 10% of our brains. So God only knows what we're capable of storing, what we're capable of doing. They're proving now that people are absolutely capable of telepathic thought, and we do it very naturally. These are all things that they're working on currently in science. They know we share our dreams. If you are a couple and you sleep together every night in the same bed, it's just a matter of time before you start sharing your dreamscape. And they found that out with the U.S. military. In fact, Raphael knows about that because when I was reading it, I was like, oh, dear God. Apparently, some of their spec ops guys, their wives knew details of their missions. And so the government investigated it, thinking that the guys were talking. No, they were sharing it in their dreams. And that is actually a United States Army study because they were trying to get to the bottom of it. They thought they had a leak, and that was not the problem. The problem is that they sleep with their wives, and they do so every night that they're home, and they linked. And it's not everybody that does that, but they say that you are attracted. I've always heard that your mate or mates, because most people have more than one mate in their life. You are attracted to somebody. You are attracted to somebody who came from the same proton. So we're basically all proton dust, and we know that. That's kind of what we consist of, our physical form. But they say that you are attracted to somebody of like frequency. And go ahead.
Now, Tanhai Tran had a comment. He said, I like the Protestant lady's comment about born again. It's spiritual rebirth, not the same as reincarnation.
Correct.
Yeah. Just clarifying that terminology there. Yes.
We got to make her where she's happy because we don't want her getting angry. You don't want to see her when she gets angry.
Yeah.
Get a hold of me because there's something about energy that you keep trying to go back to science, and I have some revelation for you on that topic, but it's a little bit deep in order to bring into this show.
Yeah, energy, like I always say, energy is everything. It's frequency and vibration. We as humans are, all you are is a giant oscillating particles. So kept together by frequency and vibration. That's, again, a scientific fact.
Well,
So
we established something here that I think that we can go back to, that there is a spark of light at the beginning of life, and at the end of life, there's a release of that light.
Okay,
That
so
light
hold on a minute,
is
guys. We
the
have
universal.
1 minute until break. So before you goes any further, hold that thought, and we will be back after the break. So, okay, give it a second. We'll do the break, and then we'll be back to discuss it even more. So,
You bet.
all right,
We're on break.
all right. Yeah, this is where we usually get into some really good conversation. So if you want to keep talking about it, you can. First.
I'm gonna wait about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna hang this one up, and then we're gonna start another call again. And we lost Sonia once again.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, she bounced in one time, and then she bounced in, came in again, and she bounced out again.
Yeah, I tried to get David, and David's like, I've been trying to get in, and I'm like, I've been trying to add you too, and I don't see you. I'm like, what's going on?
She said she had to go because of her daughter, so she's probably she's probably got to go pick her daughter up at work, but she usually does right around this time. So.
Okay.
Now, when you guys were talking, the one thing that really gets me is, well, first of all, I don't separate the physical, the emotion / psychological, and the spiritual. I think that all of them are connected. Okay, so whenever I look at neuroscience and I look at the physical aspects, I kind of look at it as a part of it, because like with neuroscience, they suggest that like hypnosis enhances visualizations. Okay. And it's also big on narrative building. So, like, what a client remembers may be nothing more than a confabulation or stories, generated by the brain out of.
It's kind of like AI. It has its own drift.
Yeah. Now, and plus you also have to think of emotional intensities of the experiences. It makes it feel like the memory is. Like it feels like a memory, even if it's an imaginative construct, and archetypes too. We build archetypes up in our brain. It's another thing when it comes to myth making, things of that nature. Like that's what we've done ever since the beginning of time, is we've created myths out of a lot of things. So. And it's all connected. So
there's a couple of points that I'm thinking. First of all, if you say the energy cannot be destroyed or created, and for lack of a better word, there are reincarnation is done by the transfer of souls. Doesn't that mean there is a finite amount of souls, therefore a finite amount of possible beings?
that's always been insinuated, though, even with the GUP.
Yeah,
There was only
I
a
like
finite
that though.
amount.
Good question.
he just
There's only
opened a can of whoop ass right there, to be honest.
But
It's kind of like Bitcoin. Just think of humans.
Well,
as
wait
Bitcoin.
a second. In the Bible, that question's answered. It has to do with Adam and Eve and somebody getting their butt kicked. They were banished and they went away. But don't worry, you will be the founder of all this great nation, even though they'll carry the mark. And if he was the founder of that great nation, would it not be his soul that ultimately would be the regeneration of that entire bloodline? Or maybe that is what you're tied to is DNA. And if you had this conversation about DNA, your soul would be identified with that DNA and follow that DNA, but it is not restricted by time.
And don't forget too, DNA can be changed. We all know that with mRNA, as well as, anytime you get a blood transfusion, and women when they have sex.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, again, it's outlined that there are only X amount of souls in the GUP. And the GUP are the new souls. And literally,
what if the DNA was actually the tuning rod for that soul?
It is the tuning rod.
And when you change that DNA, it separates the soul.
That's the fear. Okay, see, now you're getting into something that I have talked about on my show, and my fear with the mRNA and CRISPR and all this crap. Now they've actually developed.
All right. I hate to cut you off, Nancy, but we're going to have to take and leave this room to go to the next one. All right.
All right. Everybody
I'll
hang
be right
up.
there.
Remember to hang up.
Make sure you hang up.
Okay, and we will be up and ready for the next hour here in a second. Just give us a little time and patience. I do want to mention as well that last week on our episode of Cafe Enigma, we had some really, really good feedback in the Rumble comment section, and I want to say thank you for that. So here we are. We got the WOW
Hey, guys.
bunch.
Roger, when we
Yes.
get back on air, to do a shout out, because I have a very old friend from the Ghost Hunters chat that's listening, and she's actually part of the Edgar Foundation, Jolie. Jolie's actually listening right now. She just texted me because she was like, I'm loving this show right now. This is really incredible. So I'd like to give her a shout out and thank her for listening.
Do it.
Because like I said, she listens to the vault all the time, but I'm really happy to see she tuned in for tonight. That's awesome.
That's greatness. You know what I mean? That's what the Cafe Enigma is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about making people happy. Dude, I'm so amazed with how many people freaking wanted to come in here and be a part of this. Like, I'm serious. First, I'll tell you, freaking, I put the post in Jaffe's room, and bam, he was on it, dude. He's like, I want to come in, dude. And
then he didn't show.
He's right there.
Jaffe?
No, first.
Is that him?
First.
Oh, the first. I thought Jaffe would. I thought Jaffe was going to try to come in too, but maybe.
Well, he said
too early.
He said he was, but.
By the way, Mark Edworthy, it's law of thermodynamics that we're talking about.
Yeah,
I've never heard of the GUP. I would not.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a finite thing. Well, in my biblical studies, it's God knows how many souls there are, and like the end of the church age when the rapture.
Well, here we go. Then you're going to think too. All right. What about all the souls that aren't even on this planet?
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, all the souls belong to God.
God
so
didn't say He only gave souls to man. All right, I don't remember any passage.
Made in His image. They're made in His image. So
His image, yes, but He
angels
didn't say
humans.
that. He didn't give the spark to others.
Said interpersonal beings. I didn't actually specify humans. Because I was thinking more on the Buddhist sort of line,
Relax, Mark. Sit down so we can see you. We can't see you flipping your hair around.
Yeah,
if you're standing
it's like
up.
I was thinking on the Buddhist.
You can't let these ladies see your trousers, man.
Reincarnated into a slug or snail or a bird or something.
I will have to say enough of that. Don't allow these ladies to see your trousers.
Has anyone considered how many different parasites and single-celled individual cells that make up the human being that all have to cooperate?
Yep.
That's actually going to be. That's actually.
100 trillion.
That's actually going to be
the
part of
fractal energy that is powering that assembly. There's a fractal
that powers
that assembly in order to come out to consciousness.
No.
And that consciousness is shared by that energy that powers everybody. After all, human beings are a lot more interesting when they're animated.
Yep.
That's something that I'm eventually going to want to talk about too, because that also goes into stuff that I like to discuss when it comes to the underworld. Okay, people don't understand.
3, 2,
That's,
1, and you're live, Roger.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back. We are, what is this, second break? Now, we are going to do a deeper dive into this topic. We're going to explore the science of signals within the brain itself. Neuroscience describes two key networks. That's the mossy fibers and climbing fibers. Mossy fibers guide information in orderly rhythms, ensuring raw signals are interpreted correctly. Climbing fibers, on the other hand, spiral upward, less constrained, transforming raw data into new patterns of knowledge. Together, they create a dance of structure and transformation in the very architecture of learning. So today, I wanted to bring up on this part of the stream basically two talking points, and that is, could mossy fibers within the brain be pathways to higher perception? And are mossy fibers the anchors of reality in the same way myths describe such things as the world tree? So with that, I want to open this up with first these fibers. But are they biological myth generators within our brains? Now, when I pose the question, I'm connecting neurobiology with myth making, asking whether structures in the brain like climbing fibers and mossy fibers could be the very mechanisms that transform raw experiences into symbolic narratives, which later become myths. Now, climbing fibers carry raw, powerful, often unpredictable bursts of signal like sudden insights or visions or emotional surges. In mythical language, this is the spark or divine inspiration, the lightning bolt from the gods, the dream visitations, or the mystical revelation. Now, mossy fibers provide rhythm and sequence, structuring signal into a pattern activity that can be stored and recalled. In myth making, this resembles the process of taking wild, chaotic experiences and weaving them into story, something the community can share and understand. Now, every culture has myths of ascent, climbing ladders, trees, vines, mountains, and order, which is roots, foundation, underworlds. Now, these reflect how the brain itself is wired, oscillating between chaos, which is raw signals, and order, which is patterns. Now, the act of storytelling might be the brain's attempt at reconciling these two forces and internal neurological rhythm that becomes expressed in mythic archetypes. Okay, so with that, I'm going to open it up and I want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Well, isn't that kind of what dreams do? I mean, dreams are basically your brain's way and your consciousness's way of breaking things down to metaphorical value. I always hated it when they would say, your dreams they're just trash. They're nothing. No, that is not true. Nothing about us is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are perfect creatures in many, many, many ways. And we're very, very, very advanced in many ways that we give ourselves no credit for because we've been told not to. but your dreams, 90% of people's dreams are metaphorical breakdowns of either their day, their week, their past, or in many cases, their future. It is your consciousness communicating with the id, the unconscious.
I think that would also be confused with what everyone is capable of doing, and many times in a dream state does it, is out-of-body travel. They actually can go and observe events from a fourth perspective. It's not a third perspective. It becomes a fourth perspective because it is their interpretation through a third party's interpretation when they do that. However, now I haven't heard the fibers that you're referring to, but after you started describing their function, I recognized it right away. And it's a little bit of a three-part story here. The first part is, where did it come from? Where this story comes from is the original meaning of the word worship. There is a syllable or a hard consonant missing. And what that is a letter K. It's workship. You used to work for the church. Everybody was communal. The entire church held the community together. And by working for the church, you earned your food, your keep, and what else you would have. So if it was defense, if it was creating something called monatomic gold, which was the biggest actual workship that they actually performed at that time. The monatomic gold has a special function, and it can not only be in our physical realm, but it also can transfer to the energetic realm. And white gold is another description for that, which many people over the age of 40 would recognize. But they don't recognize monatomic because we really didn't have that in the mainstream media, that terminology. So white gold dating back to the time of Christ. And this white gold has a place that it collects in the body, and that is your pineal gland in the center of your brain, which is also your eye, which is made up of the fibers that maybe he was talking about specifically. That is actually a third eye that has no escape in order to see light. So what is it looking at? It's looking at the energy world. I yield.
Right. Now, before we go,
your
hold
pineal gland.
Nancy
I was
wanted
gonna
to
say-
do, hold up, Nancy wanted to
Oh,
do
go
a
ahead.
shout out real quick, and then I want you to take over, MC. But Nancy, you wanted to do a shout out. So I hope she's still there. She might have stepped away. Did
Yeah, I was just gonna say what he was talking about, the pineal gland. Yeah, absolutely. Your third eye, etc. I could see that. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to do what they called it lucid dreaming. When you know that you're dreaming. And I mean, I did it pretty often. I mean, maybe every other day, every 3 days. And until I was about, almost 18, I thought that was normal. Thought everybody did that. And then when I was 17, something like that, I didn't found out what it was actually called, lucid dreaming. But yeah, astro traveling, I definitely believe in something like that. I don't want to get too far into it now, but I got pretty good with it once I learned in my dreams that I was self-aware, and I was like, all right, I'm dreaming. Immediately, it was like, all right, let me play with this. Let's see what we can, because usually you wake up when that happens. But then I got really good with it. I mean, I got to the point where I could float. Then it was more than a float. It was a very controlled float. Then it was literally what I would call flying. It sounds really stupid, you know what I mean?
no, it
But
doesn't, actually.
it was tripped out through my 20s. It was really tripped out. I mean, this was like a thing that went on for about 6-7 years. But anyway, yeah.
Well, you guys know, for those of you who know me, you know I'm a precognitive dreamer. I do see events before they happen. A lot of times I don't want to, but yep, there it is. But I've always theorized that I am remote viewing when I'm dreaming like that. Simply because when I have those dreams, I I always describe it to people as my senses are on crack. Everything I see is not just colorful, it's colorful times 50. Everything I hear is amplified. Everything I smell is amplified. Everything I touch is like, it's like being on ecstasy. You know, it's just like, whoa. I have all of my senses and I know who I am, but I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And a lot of times, like I said, my dreams are coupled and Mark will tell you this, they're in twos. It's usually 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 hours, 2 months before the event takes place. And it can be timed right down to the minute. But again, I've always believed that's not astral projection. That was actually remote viewing.
Not to be a sniper, but I'd like to add something to that. When you're actually viewing those things, those are the weight of history and the momentum moving toward that time. And if you're having those and they're turning out bad, take those and you can alter that, because that is in front of you and it is the momentum of time that you're actually measuring yield.
Actually, because they're never, very rarely are they personal. They're world events. I always say, in fact, Jolie, by the way, hi, Jolie, I know you're listening. She'll remember it because she was in the chat when it happened. This is years ago. The Northern Illinois campus shooting, when a guy went on campus in Northern Illinois College and basically shot it up. I was not just there, I was next to some of the victims as they fell. In my dream, of course, I could describe them to the T. I could smell the gunpowder. I could tell you the building it happened in. I could describe it. And this is before the news broke. I was writing about this in my chat because I had dreamt it and I knew it was coming. And I kept saying, 2 days, 48 hours, I'm going to put it on that line because this is something, it's imminent. But there's nothing I can do to alter it. It's funny because I've always thought that I'm not here to alter it. I'm here to be the landing pad for people. I'm here to be a support system to get people to not overreact, to basically maybe emotionally get them through it. It's the only reasonable thing I can think of as to why I'd be shown things. Hurricane Katrina, that was a 6-month dream that kept adding to itself. When an event happened, that part of the dream would stop and something else would add on. So I can't tell you, I couldn't have controlled that if I wanted to. I can't tell you why. I can see it. I think it might be something frequency and time based. When I'm remote viewing, for some reason, I'm synced in with something.
A lot of times we confuse things by getting them exactly opposite. It's not so much that you are being sent these images. You're actually seeking these images out because you're that curious about the world around you. Would that make sense?
That's very possible. But like I said, it's, in fact, that's funny you say that because I always say I'm in a constant state of readiness. Like I live my whole life literally waiting for like the next event to happen because I can feel it when it's coming. And it's weird, like with the.
Oh, now you've stepped on something here. Mind you, I'm 62 years old, so I've had the ups, I've had the downs, and the downs, some of them has been rather crazy. And I realized while I was in these downs, it was almost suicidal. And I would think about it as like, I don't give a rat's ass. I'm too interested in what's going to happen next. And it survived. It has saved my life multiple times.
Well, it's more of it's like a constant state of situational awareness. Like even in my life, day to day, I mean, my husband is on with us, Raphael. He'll tell you, I'm situationally aware. Like I see things that nobody else sees 90% of the time. I can see somebody's eye move in a certain way, their forehead creases. I can tell you exactly what they're thinking because I'm situationally aware. And I don't know what triggered that in my life, but some event triggered it. And it's just the way I am. But it's the same thing in the dream.
You are familiar with the name Aleister Crowley, right?
Oh, yes. Very familiar.
Okay. You're familiar with his story of walking down the street behind somebody and he was demonstrating his ability in order to take over that person's mind and make them falter?
Oh, yes. Well, that's the
Okay.
news goal.
Now,
Yeah.
if you reverse that and you're simply empathetic, what is the result of that? That you're picking up on that other person's mind empathetically, not invasively. I
Oh,
yield.
no, it can be invasive. I'm 1,000% empathic.
It's not invasive. It's a matter of frequency, and you have no control of that. It's the same thing as being able to control whether or not you can feel pain if someone tries to burn you. You can't control that. It's part of you.
A lot of times I will apologize to people because I can literally hear their thoughts, and I'll be like, I don't want to know that. Need to walk away now because you're really loud, and I know you're not talking, but I can hear you. My husband will tell you that too, because sometimes I'll yell across the house, "Stop that! I can hear you," and he'll start laughing because he knows. But I don't, and I told you at the beginning of this, I do believe this is all frequency based. I think it's a frequency I'm tuned to. My genetics are tuned to it. I mean, this is something that's hereditary. It comes down through the lineage of my family. And it's something that each female or male, because some of the men are like this too.
Hey, do you feel my vibe? Do you feel my vibe? Because this is a very old saying. Do you feel my vibe? We can go back all the way to the 1960s. Can you feel my vibe? The people, I can't remember the two guys' name that seen the entire universe in a mathematical fractal. They freaked me out in South America. I can't remember, but they were really responsible for a lot of the parties and, more importantly, some of the legendary concerts later. But I can't remember their names. But you have to understand something. You are actually attached to the energy around you. And you can't turn that off. You can't turn it on. There is no controlling. It's the same thing as deciding that your heart's not going to beat. It's not going to beat when it's time not to beat. It's not going to be something you command to happen. So that's something that you're going to have to realize. And I just try to make it work to people's benefits. I try to bring balance to people with it. I try to, like, if I learned very young not to tell somebody if I have a dream about them. I don't tell them because I don't ever want to do cause and effect. So I usually just try to gently guide them in a different direction. I see a lot of parallel between me and you. We're just we're in the same college. We're in the same classes. It's Tom a year ahead of you, it seems.
Yep. I'm like, I'm 65.
I have a desire to share so much with you, but some of it requires some, introductions and stuff like that. But the energies that you're describing and how you're describing it, there is no escape from, because we are in a hyper energetic field just in order to create us. Have you ever noticed that if you look at the pattern of veins in a human body, you look at a tree, it's exactly the same ratios. If you look at lightning, it's the same ratios, it's the same fractal over and over again that is directing certain particles to do certain things. And the complexity of your mind is actually a very small, tiny fractal, that only one instance of this particular fractal is yours.
Well, see, when you say that though, that's where I was talking about. Everybody jumps to that conclusion, like the mind is just insignificant, and it's actually not. You really don't comprehend what your mind is doing, because you have fractured memories that are within your mind that you aren't even aware of. Everything you see, hear, taste, feel, smell is put into your brain in little fractured memories, and you don't even know what they are.
It goes further.
Well, we can go back to the 100th monkey that was observed over there in islands. They had treats that they were throwing to the monkeys. It was getting sand on it, and there was one group of monkeys that learned in order to sit there and take it back down to the water, rinse it off, and eat it. What was odd about it is that island with no contact whatsoever picked up on the same habits as this other island. And there's only one explanation, and that would be race memory, but current race memory, that you're connected to that energetic flow. I yield.
Like I said, Roger, it's you have I've described it to you guys a million times. When I dream, I do what I call grid surf. I'm surfing a network, a universal network. It's like a web.
Now,
I can see
hold
it.
on. We got 1 minute until break. Hold that thought, and we will be right back and continue this conversation, Nancy.
That's funny because I bring up the
All
100th
right, we're
monkey.
on radio break right now.
He brought the same thing up last week.
I bring up that 100th monkey like every other week.
Yeah.
The monkey man.
Well, now our conversations give the
I think
context
the best use
for it
of
to
it.
come up.
I think the best use of it, whether it be the 100th monkey or the 10,000th monkey, is there's 10,000 monkeys at the door asking us in order to look at a script for Hamlet that they wrote. Straight out of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, okay? And that is the best example because everything will happen. It will happen again. It'll be thought of again, and it is recursive. And that is as well as in mind as it is in physical.
Everything.
Okay, whether it be history or ever. You got to remember, when we're talking about history, we're talking about man-made things. We're not talking about nature-built things. We're just tracking our insanity.
All right. Well, don't forget, Roger. At 10 till, we got to start wrapping up.
Yeah.
And then 5 till, we got to clear.
Now 10 till, you're talking about 10 till 10, right?
Right.
Okay.
And,
So.
Guys got to remember that the universe has memory. I mean, the Akashic, that's no joke. The Akashic, or whatever you want to call it, Edgar Casey dubbed it the Akashic, but it is basically, there's no time. And I've always said that time is a perception. There is no time. Everything is stored in the Akashic, all of it, whether it be humanity, whether it be something extraterrestrial, everything universe that deals with the universe is stored in that Akashic. Every memory.
Edgar Casey, that's far out stuff.
Well, here's
the
other thing.
Are you going to continue? Are you going to continue the divination series then, as part of this?
Jolie has actually reminded me about the Baltimore
because that would be really that would probably fall in really good with the rest of this and make a nice series out of this.
Well, actually, this is a part. This is a part
that I'd like to bring in.
This is a part of a series that I'm doing called "In Search of Thanatron." Now, this is actually going to be. We're delving into this, but eventually, I'm going to get into another one that's going to be another series. But this actually is just one part of it, because like in the first one, we did the ionosphere, and I wanted to get into blue beam. The second one, we talked about other voices, and we started talking about biological technologies. And this time, now we're talking about reincarnation. So the next one, I mean, you brought it up in the last show. We were talking about Einstein's brain. I mean, that's where we got to go. Einstein's brain and freaking Atlantis, dude. And
Einstein's brain, actually Tesla's brain. Throw that in there too.
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Which In Search of are you going to use for that one then? Because I don't.
We're going to find a good one. You just
because they didn't have one just on Einstein.
Well, I know they have one on Atlantis though, and
Atlantis, yes.
Atlantis,
the lost continents.
Atlantis, Star Children, as well as Genius and Einstein's brain are all connected. Believe it or not.
So then you're going to connect that with Mu and all the other lost continents then too?
Oh no, Mu and Mu is
Lemuria.
Lemuria.
Yeah.
That's all because going into my underworld.
That was actually a series that In Search of did.
Right, and that's going to be
where we've been and where we're going.
Lemuria is sitting at the South Pole. That's the big deal at the South Pole. That is Lemuria.
Lemuria, Hollow Earth.
30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
All right. You guys get me.
They say A lot of people are attracted to Florida because they think that was once Tartaria.
All right, here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live right now.
If regression therapy taps into hidden layers of memory, could it be working through these same pathways? The mossy fiber holding continuity, the climbing fibers opening ascent into patterns beyond ordinary perception. The parallels between reincarnation cycles and the brain's learning cycles. When I draw that parallel, I'm highlighting how two very different domains, spiritual belief in reincarnation and scientific understanding of neural learning, seem to echo the same cyclical structure. In Hindu, Buddhist, and many indigenous traditions, reincarnation is not random rebirth, but a cycle of lessons. The soul returns again and again carrying residues of past lives, karma, working through unfinished patterns. Each life is both a continuation and an opportunity for transformation, refining consciousness over time. In the brain, learning rarely happens in one go. Circuits run through cycles of trial and error, especially in systems like the cerebellum. Mossy fibers carry the predicted pattern, what we think will happen, while climbing fibers carry the error signals, the surprise, the correction. Through repetition, the nervous system adjusts each cycle, leaving a trace, making the pattern stronger or more refined. Karma in reincarnation is like the residual weight of experience in the brain. Just as karmic action influence future births, neural actions influence future cycles of behavior. Errors that are uncorrected persist. Lessons not learned repeat, mirroring the idea that souls return until the lesson is understood. With that, I'm going to open it up to you guys and let you go at it. See what you have to say about it.
I agree with it. I don't want to come back to this planet, whoever quote unquote God is, when I get there, I really hope that whatever proving ground this is, I passed it. Cause, this has been fun. It's not been all bad, but I'm good. I'm good on doing it again. I definitely think there's something to that.
I know that our founding fathers did not want, a basis of religion or school of thought to be built on karma.
Do you like going to do that?
I'm just saying what the founding fathers wanted. That's why they went more with the Judeo-Christian. They wanted that. They weren't trying to force it, whichever one.
I don't know who the gentleman was that was talking before, but I want to answer him. If you've ever enjoyed going to a fireworks display, one of the biggest things that keep me wanting to come back right now, right here, what's going on, is because they look how much money they spent on Armageddon, dude. Can you imagine? And it's going to be the biggest fireworks display in history. And you don't want to sit there and find out what happens? I do. And if I have to reincarnate one more time in order to check that out, I think I think it would be worth it. How about anybody
Yeah,
else?
Not for me. I'm for oblivion.
You know,
End it
it's
all.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm
But
good.
anyways, getting back into that, for the past lives and that, I think a lot has to do with genetics and how genes are passed from people to people. And we already know that genes carry memory. And they've even, used it in computers and things like that. So, or modeled computers after stuff like that to do that. So I really believe that, you know, even though you might not have been a direct descendant, somewhere in the DNA, that memory can emerge. And that came from when I did the show, the first show on this, from the original Cafe Enigma. And that was some of our conclusions on it as well.
Good way to come to a conclusion, to be honest.
It's epigenetics. I mean, that's what I was talking about at the very beginning of the show was epigenetics and the fact that you have cellular memory, genetic memory. It passes down generation to generation. But where do you draw the line? Because there are things that are outside of epigenetics that occur that cannot be simply explained. You know, it's kind of like when I was talking earlier about ghost hunting and some of the experiences I've had, where I can tell you I've gone into a location and I am as skeptical. I'm really skeptical in a lot of ways when I ghost hunt because I know, there's a 99% chance that this is your brain trying to deal with something, or it's environmental, or there's always another explanation. But there's always that 1% that leaves you dumbfounded because you cannot for the life of you explain what you just witnessed or what you just heard. And it was funny because Vicky was saying something at that point about you either go to heaven or hell. And one of the running jokes we had in the paranormal was apparently somebody didn't get a copy of that contract because there's a lot of things that happen where you're like, well, if that person's not in heaven or hell, they're just kind of wandering around the house. Even if it's a residual, that's still a trap. It's, it's energy that's trapped for some reason or another. It's, in fact, the paranormal is one of the reasons I have so much knowledge on electromagnetics and how EMF can affect your brain and how radiation affects your brain and how your environment affects your brain and all these things that occur. And with all that knowledge, I still cannot explain to you some of the things I have been privy to. I still, with all the logic I've got, I can't explain it to you. I can tell you, well, obviously something's going on here. That's why they call it paranormal or supernatural, because it's not within our parameters yet to explain. I think quantum physics is getting there. I think we're going to find some explanations within quantum physics eventually. But it's just, there's certain things that we just cannot explain. It's the universe's secret. It's the universe as a whole. There's a very interesting theory out there. You guys has everybody on the panel heard of the Black Knight? Do you know what the Black Knight is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So for the listeners that are listening right now, the Black Knight is an object that has been photographed in low Earth orbit that looks like a rock. Actually, it reminds me of Oumuamua, the asteroid, and actually Atlas, the new asteroid that they found, which actually looks a lot like Oumuamua. But they believe it is a satellite of some sort because of the way it moves around in its orbit, and the fact that it seems to have these interesting little functions. Now, if you talk to NASA, their official statement on it is no, this is imaginary, it doesn't exist. But who trusts NASA? Because I don't. NASA's nothing but a large black budget to do a lot of things that have nothing to do with space. But I've read in several places now that the Black Knight is actually basically like a prison gate to keep souls trapped on this planet and to make us continually recycle to relearn. Like basically,
Wow.
the expression "prison planet" comes to mind.
You
I
have
thought
hit,
that's what the moon
hit on
was.
something.
Well,
I thought the moon was this great big
you were
soul
on the
trap.
show with me before on this, Nancy, when we talked about the Black Knight with John Titor II.
Yep.
And
We
John
have
said,
the second
yeah, it
story
is.
about the Black Knight
Yeah.
too, though.
And John said, oh, yeah, it is extraterrestrial, but it doesn't come from this galaxy.
Is there
Yeah.
not
And
supposed
no
to be
other
some-
extraterrestrials will mess with it because they don't want to deal with those folks.
Is there not supposed to be something to that though? The
There
moon
is.
being a soul trap.
It is, and yes, that's part of Andrew Bellagio and Obama's story. But Andrew Bellagio and Obama has both been to the moon. Now, one of the things I didn't share with you about the story I gave you is my perspective was from that of the moon looking at the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I said that there was a window there, it wasn't a window, it was perception. But my perception, my point of view was from the moon to the Earth at that time. Now, whether or not the Black Knight, there's a secondary story, which is one of the very old stories. It talks about the chaotic ones. I don't think that that's connected the way that it would be connected if it was the other. That was part of the soul trap. I don't believe that the Black Knight is. However, it is from one of the babysitters, from the original creators, and it is a ET phone home, not go home, phone home. And this has been set here in order to monitor us. When you travel across the galaxy, thousands of years can happen. So this is a way of monitoring us in real time, gravitationally, because any gravitational force in the universe you can detect immediately from anywhere. There is no time. That's part of quantum mechanics, and we have to start accepting the quantum mechanics rules of operation for this in order to be able to actually fit. But the Black Knight was suggested, that was 6-7 years ago, that was actually shot down by American forces. And this has caused, afterwards, there was a bomb on the moon that we just had to put a bomb on the moon, and it didn't have to be any kind of bomb, and had to be nuke. And it had to go there. And if you've seen any of the photographs, there was an evacuation of that spot by a bunch of little dots and bright lights that left that spot just before impact, and it was all visible. On the photos of the control room, they actually had a photograph laying in front of one of the astronomers as they were watching this on the thing. And in that, it had a circled area, and it was an image of a building on the moon.
Yes.
So these things are real. Now, here's the other thing about the Black Knight, and I want to give it some accordance here. She says it's like a rock. It is. It's an L-shaped rock, however. And this rock, if you think about it, I mean, does it make any sense for us to put a bunch of Sprite cans together and call it a rocket and call it safe? It doesn't. Okay. However, what if we grabbed one of these passing asteroids, we drill a hole in it, put a couple of chairs in there, throw a door on it, and then shove a rocket up its ass? We've got something.
I was going to say, how about we just drill a hole in Barack Obama and Eric Holder's head?
They have enough hot air.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is we have something that can survive micro asteroids and everything else. It survived for 10,000 years out there without being destroyed. And now we're protected by an asteroid 360 degrees all the way around us with a door on it. It makes more sense. So when they're saying,
it's interesting because they think that, I believe Nikola Tesla believed it was the Black Knight that was in communication with him.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it was.
Exactly, and
that's
something right there that I do want to bring up later on in the next episode. Most likely, that is going to be the next topic that we have, because
You're welcome.
Conversation.
I mean,
I actually always thought that the Black Knight looked like one of the giant moai on Easter Island, if you really look at it.
But if you look at
if they could get them to walk, why couldn't they get them to be in orbit?
Well, if you look at Atlas, though, if you turn Atlas vertical, it's almost identical. It's just much larger. And on Oahu, same thing. If you changed the position of it and went vertical with it, it's almost identical as far as shape goes. I mean, I've actually compared them side by side. And I'm like, this is freaking crazy because here's this object sitting up in orbit. They won't talk about it. I mean, good luck getting somebody at NASA to talk to you about the Black Knight. It's not going to happen. And now we have all these things going on with the moon. Like if y'all have noticed, if you're sky watchers like I am, that what was it, asteroid 2024 or something, CL 2024, I think it is now supposed to hit the moon. Like hit it, and it's a big asteroid. And I'm thinking, yeah, what better way to cover like a nuclear event on the moon than to say an asteroid's going to hit it? Oh, gee, look, we didn't see this coming. Oh, wait, now it's coming. And, I just feel like we're being set up for so many different storylines. Blue beam, Roger, you mentioned that earlier. Blue beam is something I am vastly knowledgeable on.
Yep.
And it's something that scares the piss out of me right now because I see it all in action. Already, I can see them leading up to a blue beam event. And they're not.
Think of this with past lives and that. When this all kicks off, do you think someone's going to have some past life regression flashbacks of when Atlantis and Mu were destroyed? All right, because it'll be something similar.
Yep. Now, just as raw signals in the cerebellum need refinement through cycles of learning, reincarnation fragments, if they exist, would need shaping through the body and a lifetime. A newborn might carry the raw imprint of fear, desire, or talent, but without context, it remains vague, like a signal without circuitry. Now, over time, life provides the shaping context, turning fragments into recognizable traits, compulsions, or affinities. Some children studied in reincarnation researches, like those conducted by Ian Stevenson, seem to have raw memories, names, faces, places that only later get pieced into coherent patterns. Now, these early flashes resemble unrefined raw signals, burst without integration. Think of it like this. Raw signals are the sparks, but they need mossy fibers, the structure, rhythm, and order to turn into meaningful patterns. In spiritual terms, these sparks could be karmic fragments, bits of memories from beyond one life, awaiting the architecture of a new nervous system to shape them into usable form. So keep that in mind whenever you guys think about that, because I know you guys are getting into a lot of this, but those are things that are really, really important, because like I said, I don't separate the physical, the emotional, or the spiritual. I think that they all work together. Without our brains being able to function and having the ability to freaking do these things, reincarnation would never happen. Just like most things that are spiritual, okay? I don't feel that anything spiritual could happen to the human body unless they actually, it was actually capable of being done within the brain, without it being something that the brain could actually perform, it wouldn't happen. And I really do believe that. I believe that you have to take the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional, psychological into consideration, So, with that being said, we are coming up on the end of the show. So, as a wrap-up, I'd like for you guys to ponder these questions. Are climbing fibers architects of change, and mossy fibers keepers of order within our brain? Are ancient myths merely subconscious descriptions of these structures? And if reincarnation exists, is it a recycling of souls or a universal law of ascent? Do regression memories reflect only our psychological, or do they point to a larger consciousness woven into the cosmos? And finally, if the brain's architecture mirrors cosmic architecture, are we fragments of a greater intelligence climbing towards integration? We may walk with mossy roots or spiral upwards on climbing threads, but in the end, we are all woven into the same unseen pattern. So, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and I would like to ask that everybody on the panel go through and give their socials so that everybody who is listening or watching has a chance of maybe figuring out how to contact you. Now, doing that, I would like to start out with first, if he would like to go first last, and we can move on from him to Jason. First.
Yeah. You can find me
Hold on,
at...
Jason.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's first.
You can find me a lot of times on the Robert Morningstar show in the mornings and stuff like that.
Okay. Now it's your turn, Jason.
Alrighty, you can find me at the D Program Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. EST. That's MC_Dirty Work. That's also at BitChute and YouTube. MC without the _ Dirty Work at Rumble.
All right. Now, Mark Edworthy, give it your go, bud.
Yeah, I'm at minds.com under the username Medworthy.
All right, now we go to Raphael. Go for it.
He's on mute. Rafi, you're on mute.
He's on mute.
Sorry, you can find my socials and that of Nancy on thevixensvault.com on the About Us page. And you can catch us every Wednesday at 9 p.m.
All right. You want to give yours, Vicky?
Okay, you can find me on Telegram at For Such a Time as This, and on X at Booklander62.
Okay, and now Nancy, we're letting you do yours last because you are the last person to give your socials. There you go.
Okay, guys, y'all can find me at thevixensvault.com. As Raphael mentioned earlier, all the socials are attached. You can find me on Telegram as Wiccan Vixen. I'm in multiple chats on Telegram. I administrate for multiple chats there. You can also find me on X as Rider on the Storm.
All right. Now, I'd like to thank you, or give thanks to our guests, panelists, and listeners. Like I said before, tonight we explored pathways of transformation and reincarnation. Consider how these mysteries touch on our consciousness, our spiritual life, and mental well-being as well. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, comment in the comment section, and give us some feedback, or just say hello. And with that, I would like to say again, thanks for listening. And this is where Mark is supposed to end the show.
We're going to work on those transitions, Roger.
Okay.
Great show. We had a great show tonight. Thanks, everybody. And once I take and get the audio broadcaster down, I will switch us over to the next one so we do an after show if you're all interested. David said that the reason why he couldn't come in is there was too many people in the room.
Oh.
So he couldn't join. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Man.
going to say, Roger, you've got to consider that when you're inviting people in the numbers.
I'm a wild man, dude. I do things rowdy like that. I'm a
Yeah, yeah, but you've got
rowdy
to have
dog.
50 people in there.
Only
And
person rowdier than me is MC Dirty Work in the house.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So, I mean, the thing is it's like this is a hot topic, okay? And that's what I've been trying to say. And I knew because like Nancy, for one, she is freaking, her and Vicky and me have been talking about this for how long now, Nancy? What, months?
Yeah, months.
And
Because it started EMF when I
yeah.
was talking about EMF and dropping information, and that just lit you on fire.
Yeah.
Off you went.
Yeah. And it's just like, man, I started doing research on that back whenever I was getting sick of the freaking AI or LLMs. I don't want to make you mad, Mark, because I know you hate whenever I say AIs, but right when I was getting sick of all that, man, that's whenever you started talking about all of this stuff, man, and it was just like, bam, we just started having conversations about it, and then Vicky got all crazy and wild with her.
And as I mentioned in the chat earlier this evening, we sort of alluded to these subjects on our Wednesday shows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am going to cut a couple of platforms now that the radio stream is cut. Goodbye, YouTube. And we will catch you tomorrow on Facebook with Censorship Sucks. So, goodbye, Facebook, for now.
Got
Goodbye, Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
And goodbye, Twitch. Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate everybody over there. And I will keep all the other streams up and running. And so that we have another refresh, I'm just going to go ahead and restart us on another call. And then I'm going to start editing the show. So hold on, folks. Hang up, and then I'm going to call you right back.
All right.
Right.
All right. And we will be back up here in a second. We just have to wait for the call. So give it a second, and I will have that up and ready to go. This will be the after show. If you guys like that, please go and check out Dragus Production. You can find Dragus Production on Kick, Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, as well as DLive. You can also find me on YouTube as well as the other ones too. So here we go. I'll just get into the call.
Come on, Vicky.
Oh yeah.
There we go. I think we got everybody that was here earlier. Except for Raph.
Except for Raph.
We'll get Raph.
He might be honking out. He's in pretty rough shape, to be honest with you.
That's what I was thinking.
All right.
When he was talking, that had to have been hell. So
He's let me tell you, his leg is getting more and more swollen. Like I'm considering.
I tried to call the first two, but wasn't able to get him on this. Is he coming back or no?
Vicky's.
He looks like he's gone. And same with Vicky. I'm trying to get Vicky back in here.
Now, Nancy, I would have actually brought up the whole thing about Ascension as well, but it was like you guys were going so good in that conversation. I just figured I'd leave it go. You know what I mean?
Well, I think Ascension would have been too much, honestly, because that's complicated. That's a show all in itself, to be honest with you.
I had a few. I had a few further thoughts, but yeah, the flow of the show was going.
Well,
yeah,
see, when you take into consideration, like, there's always been spiritual beliefs and things like ladders, vines, things of that nature. And then when you take a look at like the world tree or the Yggdrasil, okay, like that's actually the progenitors to the tree of life. You know what I mean?
Well, have you ever heard the theory of, okay, so, we talk of Jacob's ladder and,
right,
to the veil. And have you ever heard that compared to the spinal column and the veil being pineal gland is?
Yep.
Yeah. So and again, it's very interesting. You've got the Eye of Horus, which in many ways people believe is an imitation of the pineal, showing that there was knowledge then of the pineal, which, I mean, a lot of things actually link into the pineal, which, by the way, is where the magnetite in our brain is stored.
Mm-hmm.
So, so many things, Roger. And I am a person who, I'm like you, I think our brain is a very intricate part of everything. It's like of our entire body, it is the one thing that really, really, really matters.
And see, I was going to try to stay quiet until First Class said that. Where we started making comments like, "Oh yeah, the mind is just insignificant. It's not a big." I'm like, "Hold on, dude. That is not the case." Okay, like all of these things. If you believe in any kind of spiritual principle, you have got to believe that the human body was created specifically so that you could be able to experience those spiritual experiences. If you weren't, then it would not happen.
Correct.
You remember what Jordan Maxwell said about the pineal gland, right?
Mm-hmm.
He broke it down to Golgotha, and the Jacob, got changed into Israel, but he struggled with the angel all night before he had his name changed, and that was in a place called Peniel or whatever, which is at Golgotha, Skull Place.
Yep.
Said, I mean, people they discredit the pineal, and I'm like, listen, the pineal literally has cones like your eyes do. It's called the third eye for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you should, by all rights, be able to see out of your pineal gland. It is actually set up like an eye is. It's got the cones, it's got everything for you to be able to have sight through it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a very, very cool subject to actually research and get into, because you're like, what is it like the appendix?
It's amazing.
What is it? But it stores your DMT. It stores, I mean, all of your sleep processes go through it. It's amazing. In fact, they say that it is when people are psychic and they have the sight, it's the pineal that's enabling that. So if like my pineal is enlarged, I do know that for a fact because I was actually part of a study. Mark knows this. I worked with Lloyd Auerbach through a group in North Carolina. And actually the reason I was brought into that group was because I can tell you when certain earthquakes are coming, because I can feel it. I get this pitch in my ear, like, and believe it or not, 48 hours in advance. I know 48 hours ahead when certain fault lines are going to get hit and how strong the shaker's going to be, because I can actually hear. What we narrowed it down to is that I was, for some reason, able to hear the frequency of the geomagnetic shift on that fault line. So when the first buckle occurred before the actual quake begins, for some reason I can hear it. And it's not like an audible, like it's not like an outside source I'm hearing, it's in my head. And when we started narrowing it back, I think, what did they say? I was one of I think there's only 20 people in the nation that can actually, that they know can do this. But it's genetic. And that's why I said a lot of this does go back to genetics.
Yeah,
I'm
It
sensitive.
really does. You're right. And when I talk about the climbing fibers, okay, and the climbing and the mossy fibers, okay, this all goes back to Like we have this physically in our brain, all right? But when you turn around and you look at the world tree that everybody believes in, and then you look at the tree of life, and they're also you can't tell me that it's just similarities. It's just coincidence, okay, that we've done that. And then you also take a look at outside of the body. You look at things like a tree. A tree grows up, so does vines. Okay, we have these fibers that are growing upwards into our brain. And then on top of that, you were talking about the pineal glands, which is like pine cones. Have you noticed how many pine cone symbols there are in ancient hieroglyphs?
Yep.
Okay.
Dude, it's crazy when you really start examining it. Not just peripheral. You're really digging into it. It's like, that's why I keep saying to you, I think our culture has been intentionally suppressed when it comes to knowledge.
Yeah.
I think we had the keys to the kingdom in many, many ways, thousands of years ago. And yep, they got revoked.
Right. And just to add to what you were saying about the pineal, I want to say something about the thalamus, okay? And I'm talking about just the thalamus. The thalamus is actually shaped like two eggs, okay? And if you go into Greek mythology, you'll find out about the twins, okay? And these
Remus, yep.
Right.
Guys are Roman.
Yeah.
They're Roman.
You're right.
It was Greek, right?
No,
Roman.
Was it
Mr.
Roman?
Romulus and Remus.
The creation of Rome.
Yeah.
I'm talking. Hold up. Okay, yeah. So I'm talking about the two brothers that were freaking twins to the twin sisters, which was Helen, and her sister. You know, the Battle of Troy.
Yeah.
Helen of
The
Troy.
Muses.
Yeah.
Muses.
And see, the whole story behind that is she was born of they were twins, okay? Born of the same egg. And then there was two twin brothers that were also born of the same egg. Okay? And
hey guys, I've got to pop out. I'm sorry, Roger. I just tweaked my back to hell.
All right.
I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
You have a good night, and I appreciate you being here. This was a really good show. I had a blast. I enjoyed that.
And we were all very well behaved.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, I was.
And no, my brain didn't explode this time.
Well, I knew it wasn't gonna explode. I knew it wasn't.
I was thinking earlier. This was a bit over my head a bit. I was thinking before we started. This was a bit more. What's the word I use?
Esoteric.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I actually want to get you three's take on this more than anybody else, because I know MC, you're more into 9/11 and things like that. So I mean, what are your three's take of everything that was discussed tonight? Just out of curiosity.
I'm into everything, first of all. I mean, we do a lot more than 9/11 on the D program. You know that. Secret societies, fraternal orders, astrotheology, theology, history, hidden history, revised history. Oh man, not just 9/11. But I mean, I don't know. Those fibers almost sound like the same thing or the same principle as motor function, something like that. I found that pretty interesting. I've never heard of that before. Fibers.
Yeah, these
and that was from the Hopi Indians, the soul trap, as far as people, that being a Hopi Indian thing. That was something David Icke had written in one of his books, that the moon, the Hopis believed was like a soul trap, and the idea was to get past it. But anyway, I don't know. This is something I brought up because I thought it was interesting.
To get past the moon. The only thing about the whole prison planet theory that kind of spooks me is the fact, like, when you hear Alex Jones talking about it, a lot of people don't realize that what's his face, the dude that founded Scientology, is the one who freaking started coining prison planet. That actually came from him, L. Ron Hubbard, back in the day, man. So, like, that's why I'm really leery. One of the reasons why I'm really leery about Alex Jones, because I used to love hearing him talk about prison planet this, prison planet that. And then I learned that he actually was taking cue off of L. Ron Hubbard. And if you've ever had any experience with Scientologists, man, you know best just to stay away from them. They are bad news. You know, I mean, that's just my take on it, but
I never heard that he had anything to do with L. Ron Hubbard whatsoever, but I'm not surprised.
well, I know the coin came from the term it came from him when it comes to prison planet.
Maybe his wife or whatever, you know. I don't know why, but that's the first thing I think of is the ex-wife, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't they Masons?
I'm not sure, but again, that wouldn't surprise me one bit either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that what's his name?
Alex.
I will say one thing quickly good about Alex. I have heard him talk extremely critical of Israel back in the day, in the 90s. I have video of it. You wouldn't believe it back in the 90s. So I don't know if somebody got a hold of him or if he had like the opposite of a Jesus moment or what. But, you know.
Well, a lot of people do have a Jesus moment when it comes to, like, Israel. You know what I mean? Because, like, Israel is really tied in deep with the Christian belief system. I mean, you just can't escape that. You know what I mean? So there's a really close tie there. Not saying that I condone what's happening over in Israel, you know, but I mean,
well, this Israel is not the same as the, 12 tribes or, children of Israel.
Yeah.
It isn't the same.
Well,
not that this land isn't given back to them, and it isn't set up so that the real, 12 tribes can come back from, being dispersed. But this particular form of government is not what originally was the covenant that God made with Abraham and with Jacob and Moses, the law and all that kind of stuff. It's not, but that's true of pretty much. Satan always finds a way to worm his way in there and mess it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, he does. So, I'm not casting aspersions on the Israelis. I don't think, just like people could cast aspersions on the Christians as well. And of course, we have Catholics and Protestants.
You got them all everywhere.
Yeah.
All everything.
Yeah. And we've all been, infiltrated and guilty of unfaithfulness to God, and that's why we're in this mess. But
now I do want to do a shout out for Mr. Robot too. He said in the comment section for the video on Rumble that Nikola Tesla claimed to have received signals from Mars using his radio equipment during experiments in Colorado Spring in 1899. He described detecting a series of unusual rhythmic signals, which he referred to as counting codes, and believed they were too structured to be random noise or natural interference. In a
like the WOW signal.
Right. In a 1901 article, Tesla wrote that he had experienced the greeting of one planet to another, suggesting he believed the signals were intelligently controlled communications from one world, possibly Mars. He ruled out terrestrial sources, solar activity, and the influence of Venus as causes for the disturbance. So,
weirdly enough, I've heard that H.G. Wells got some of his inspiration from Tesla when he was writing Waterworld.
yeah, I
don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what, yeah.
It would not doubt me at all in any way, because it's like next week. I was dead serious when I was talking, like I actually had it planned in my thing next week to talk about Nikola Tesla, because like we were joking around last week and I said I wanted to talk
about his brain,
Einstein's brain, right? And then if you remember, I said, hold up, I'm talking about him after he was dead, you know what I mean?
You was talking about his brain in a jar of formaldehyde or something, right? Like literally his brain.
Right. And like very few people even know that they did that to Einstein when he died. Like the
yeah, I didn't know that.
You know, and that there's a whole thing about that and about being what is genius. Okay.
Einstein.
So it that, and then believe it or not, it does. It ties into even Atlantis and stories of Atlantis and things of that nature. So I've got that all set up. It's going to be next week's talking points. And I mean, if you think this week was good, you wait till next week. I want you guys to come in and be a part of that too, because this is going to be. This is good.
Sorry, I had to smile when you say genius, because it reminded me of my comment in Elements the other day. You know, the thin line between insanity and genius.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And some people would say, actually, I'm not sure that Einstein was the smartest Tesla. I don't, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that, like if you consider 162, his wife came up with the MC squared stuff. So, I mean, she was really smart. She really was smart. She was a physicist. And she did all the math.
Yeah.
That's right. She was a really hardcore physicist too, like just like he was. I mean, not too many women were in college for that type of thing back then, but she was.
Yep. And so she did all the math. So he gets a lot of credit for maybe things he should not have gotten credit for.
Well, you've heard the story of H.G. Wells too, didn't you? Like there could be a chance that H.G. Wells wasn't even a man, because back then.
Some think it was his sister that wrote it all.
Yeah.
He just used his name.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to make another shout out for last week's episode. There was a guy in Rumble Chat who went by Lonesome7577, and he came out with a damn good comment. I'd like to thank him for it. He said that even with the show we did last week, guys, he said that there are similar studies with water, like the plants, and that is Masaru Emoto's studies. And I told him in the comment section that I will check that out, and hopefully.
I was right about to say, yeah, that's the Japanese guy that froze water and spoke mean, nasty words to it, negative vibrational type stuff, and you could see it. And then he played like nice music, whatever, quote unquote, nice music. I don't know, Beethoven, something with some good melody, etc. Then he played like some Norwegian black metal or something, and for the other water. I mean, I like Norwegian black, but anyway, and apparently the water didn't apparently, and I mean, this was years ago. I heard about this at work in 2005 or whatever. Somebody was telling me about this, so this must have happened back in the 70s or the 80s, something like that. But yeah,
That's
real
the,
trip that
that's
Japanese
the old
dude
joke
talking to
about
its water.
that's the old joke about what is now King George. Sorry, King Charles. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was this scene about him playing music and talking to plants, and yeah, it's a long time joke about him. Mm.
Well,
He always liked his garden.
it's like I said, well, the first time I actually really got interested in that topic was, like I said, off of the old The Thing show where they were in the Antarctic and it was the black and white show or movie.
Right.
And I remembered that conversation that the scientists had about these vines being able to communicate over long distances. You know what I mean? And that really, for some reason, that really stuck into my head. So I ended up going from there to finding out about those weird vines they used to always talk about back in the 90s, 80s and 90s. It might have been sci-fi, but it was about where they could freaking come up out of the ground and grab you and then and then actually put you under their control to where you're like walking around as there's zombies and shit. You know what I mean?
What was it? Day of the Triffids?
Yes, the trip.
Yeah,
That's
Day of the Triffids. Yeah.
Yes.
1954, 5.
Well, the
maybe.
more I kept checking stuff out about that stuff, I was like, man, dude, this is actually cool because there's a lot of stuff about plants that is just completely amazing. You know what I mean? It really is, and people just overlook it like it's not even important. You know, so I've really enjoyed the whole thing with the plants, and then when you started talking about chemical plumes with RPAD, Vicky, that just that blew me out of the water. Cause I mean, dead. Cause see, I've heard of chemical plumes. Everybody who's been over the age of 40 knows about chemical plumes. But when you start finding out where dead people are buried because of freaking chemical plumes, you know, like toxic spills, one thing, but dead people, man, that's just mind blowing. I still don't care what anybody says. That is mind blowing.
Yeah. And well, actually, and to the resonance frequency, when you read the Bible and it said, Abel's blood called to God from the ground. Well, that's a resonance frequency.
Yeah.
And it was particular to Abel. And that's how God knew who it was. But, and that's where, ARPAD pretty much, went from there as far as being able to pick up on the resonance frequency to find where these people are.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if he can get back over 20 years, one drop of blood, and the machine will, point to that area. And I mean, and it even goes, this is terrible to say, but it's true. Even if they're eaten by animals, it's in their DNA, the person's DNA will be in the scat. So, I mean, that's,
getting excited just talking about it.
Esophageal, no.
Just to shut me
But
up.
I mean, it's just, but no, I don't know when she was talking about the ghosts.
Yeah.
I think God pretty much creates people. I don't think he has I'm not sure I would agree with that. He has some big pot of wonderful little souls that he assigns. I think he creates. He's so creative. He can create, and that's why we should not, kill newborns or have abortions or things like that. It's just because that person was created
Now,
in the image of God.
Tan Tran, he said that he's the one who said that he agreed with what you said, and he also said, great show, very interesting take from different panelists. And
Yeah, I just noted I was going to mention it.
so he mentioned that, and then Jaffe came in and he said, you started 2 hours ago. That's 10 a.m. Korean time. Okay, same deal next week. Too bad. Wanted to talk a little reincarnation. And hopefully we'll all happily reincarnate next week. And I said, we will be here next week. We will talk about Einstein's brain. Things are gonna freaking go even nuttier, guys. Because you think this is it, it gets worse. I'm gonna be talking about Einstein's brain. We're gonna be talking about Tesla a little bit. Then we're going straight in for the kill, dude. It's gonna go from Einstein's brain to what is genius, and then we're gonna be talking about Atlantis. So we're gonna be going all the way back to the Atlantis myth. It's just that's the way we roll because we're hardcore like that. What do you think, Vicky? You think we're hardcore?
Yes.
Right.
I was surprised that they didn't bring up the former gods of land, because that's who gave them the information, all of that.
Yeah.
That's why the Babylonians thought they were all that, because whoever was that divine council member that was assigned to Babylon, they shared all that information. And unfortunately, to the Jewish way of thinking is that they helped us destroy ourselves better. All that information was not, it could be used for good or evil, and unfortunately, people being evil, they used it for evil. So.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm kind of drawn in between that because, like, I mean, it's clearly in the text. It says that you had the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. You could eat from the tree of life and live for eternity. You could just a life of bliss without any kind of thinking whatsoever. Just stay away from that tree. You can run around naked and be fun, be happy, be joyful, And then you had the tree of knowledge. Don't touch that tree of knowledge, because if you eat from that, you're gonna know. You're gonna have conscience, and if you do that, then you're gonna have to start putting clothes on. You aren't gonna be able to freaking having a life of eternity. Those poor women are gonna go through PMS and have babies and feel pain.
Yeah,
I've got a problem with that. You're saying either you have eternity and stay ignorant, or you become educated and you die.
Right.
You end.
That's point blank what it says. There's no sugarcoating it.
Because of the evil, they had to leave the Garden of Eden, because they couldn't eat of the tree of life, because that would make the knowledge of good and evil forever. And you don't want that. You want the bad stuff to go away. So that's why they had to leave.
But with the knowledge of evil, doesn't that allow you to be able to reason?
We have a choice. That was the thing. God did not make automatons. He made us and the divine council, the supernatural beings, in his image, and he gave us choice. So we would choose to be with him, and we can choose to be with him. he didn't want it to be like, automatons, these little robots. And therein lies the whole thing, And in the end, when he redoes his whole new heaven and earth, he will be with the people and the divine beings that choose him. So he can he wanted a family. That's what he wanted.
So the choice then, but by not eating the so-called apple, you don't have choice. Therefore, you don't. Therefore, you are an automaton.
You would be in a life of bliss, which is basically ignorance. There's a difference between stupidity and ignorance. Ignorance is just not knowing. So you would never know evil. You would, things of that nature. It would just be beyond you. You wouldn't understand it. And you would live eternally. You would never die because you'd still be in the garden of life eating the fruit of life. Because you had two choices. You could eat of the fruit or the tree of life, but you couldn't eat of the tree of knowledge. There was two trees there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The tree of knowledge was forbidden, and the tree of life was what they ate from.
Correct. Now you have to realize there are supernatural beings that did not fall with Satan. So they're
when you talk about
they're
Atlantis,
not stupid.
getting back to Atlantis, Vicky, you can explain that real simple. Same way with Mu and all these other places by the Great Flood.
Oh yeah.
All right. Because when you had, when the Great Flood happened, all right, and evil, evil still stayed around because even in some of those places, it even said in Atlantis, they sent out, what was it? 12 people, all right? The poet, the physician, the magician, and the other so-called elders of our... You know exactly what I'm talking about, Mark, because you've...
No, I was smiling just because the magic numbers cropped up again.
Which one?
Right, but...
Yeah.
But the thing is, magic could have been technology as well. But, because as far as man, certain men would not know that kind of technology or those things that were made were science, all right? Because they explained things like that as magic.
Right.
This is another thing we went over on a show, either Vixen's Vault or this one last week. It's I forget somebody else.
Indistinguishable between magic.
Yeah, indistinguishable from magic. Any type of technology that's that far out. But somebody else was good enough to name the person who quoted that. I can't remember whose quote that was.
Me, Isaac Asimov.
Yeah, that's right. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, there's a good chance I will probably have to be getting on to a stream with the Roki 5 here in a little bit, so I'm gonna have to jump off here and get a simulcast started with him. So,
thank you.
Hey, you guys, man, are the ones who made the show, and I tried my best not to jump in and talk, because Mark wants it to be just the panelists, but dude, you guys were talking so much great stuff, I just had to, you know what I mean?
Yep, you did a great job tonight. Thanks, Roger. Looking forward to more.
And thank you for showing up, Vicky. You and MC Dirty Work did a great job as well, and Mark Edworthy, he's just a rotten freaking English dude.
To be fair,
but we love him.
That's right. Wouldn't be the same.
All right.
Don't get upset with me, Mark.
Jason, set your channel up over on DLive so I can host over.
Okay, guys, I hope you did enjoy the stream. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, make comments, give feedback to Dragus Production, as well as the Wonderful World of Weirdness. You can find the Wonderful World of Weirdness on YouTube as well as on Rumble. Dragus is on Rumble, YouTube, DLive, Kick, and Twitch. Now, if you want to find me on Kick and on DLive, you have to go to Roger_Hanson. You'll find me there. If you want to find me on Twitch, I am at Infamous1969. Thank you guys for watching. Here in a little bit, I will have these edited and put out. The edited versions will first come out on my other channel called Strange Stories on YouTube. And later after that, they will be on Rumble. That will be the edited radio version as well as the edited behind the scenes version. And I've added music in where the commercials would be as well as where the shows would be for the behind the scenes, because that's all what happens in between with the commercial breaks in the pre-show and the after show. So that's both of those will be available, the radio version as well as the behind the scenes, and you can find that at Strange Stories on YouTube as well as later on being on the Wonderful World of Weirdness on Rumble. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.